There you go. Good evening, residents of Everett, Washington. I'd like to call to order Everett City Council meeting for November 5th, 2025. For information on council meetings and how to participate, please visit everettwa.gov/city council. We have a big crowd, and if you're tuning in to us, we apologize for the technology issue that this is not available live, but you'll be able to watch it first thing in the morning. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Franklin. Here. Councilmember Bader.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan. Here. Councilmember Vogely. Here. Councilmember Fossey. Here. Councilmember Tui. Here. Vice President Zarlingo.
Here.
President Schwab.
Here. And at this time, I'd like Councilmember Bader to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to ask Vice President Zarlingo to read the land acknowledgement.
This council acknowledges the original inhabitants of this place, the Stohopes people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they've hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you very much. On to old business. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the minutes for October 29, 2025?
Councilmember Ryan so moves.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan. Yes. Councilmember Vogely. Yes. Councilmember Fossey.
Abstain.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Well, good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, President Schwab, Council and Community. First, I'll congratulate President Schwab, Vice President Zarlingo, and Councilmember Ryan for your successful reelection. And I know you're going to continue to serve our community with integrity and care. So congrats. And then next, I'd like to invite Chief DeMarco forward to give a very brief update on the playground fire at Wiggums Hollow Park.
Good evening, Council. Dave DeMarco, Fire Department. It's a very brief update, and that is just that obviously the morning of the 27th, we were dispatched to Wiggums Hollow Park for a report of smoke in the area. We found on arrival the playground equipment, the plastic portion of playground equipment on fire. It was quickly suppressed, and then the fire department is responsible for cause and origin, and obviously the origin is inside the playground area. And the fire marshal's office determined that it was an incendiary fire, which means that it was set. And that is where once a crime has been determined, we pass to the police department. So right now the entire issue has been passed to Everett Police, and they're investigating to see if they can find the person that did it. Any questions for me?
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And then next, I wanted to invite Ben Breeden, our homeless response coordinator, and Kelly Rourke, our community support manager, to come forward and share just a little bit about our homelessness response. There's been a lot of questions that have come up during the buffer zone process, and this is unrelated, but since there was a lot of questions about what we are doing on homelessness, I wanted the two of you to just give us a very brief update. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm always happy to talk about the work that we get to be a part of. My name is Ben Breeden. I'm the homeless response coordinator. I'm going to talk about some of the work that I do, and then Kelly's going to talk about the great work her team does, and then any questions we'd be happy to field. Really highlighting three primary areas of focus of work that I do as the homeless response coordinator. I want to talk a little bit about shelters, developing and maintaining, running, operating other resources, and then community outreach, community involvement. So when it comes to shelters, the city, I am not a shelter provider. One of the great things I think that we do as city staff is have great connections and convening and partnerships. So we've been working with wonderful partners, Volunteers of America, Everett Gospel Mission, Interfaith Family Shelter, et cetera. In recent years, the city has added 335 new shelter beds to a very limited already capacity. So there's a lot of work that's been going on in providing actual beds for people who need them. And currently I'm working with Everett Gospel Mission, the Salvation Army, and Volunteers of America on creating an additional 277 beds that we're anticipating in the next year and a bit will be open and available for people who are unsheltered or with inadequate housing. I also do work with the county for cold weather or emergency climate-based shelter. That's a county-run program, but we are really invested in finding good solutions for people who need emergency shelter in Everett. We've actually just entered the cold weather season. It starts on November 1st, and I'm very fortunate that we've been able to find 2 locations in Everett. So we have 89 emergency shelter beds available from the beginning of our cold weather this season. So I'm really grateful for the partners, Volunteers of America and Everett Gospel Mission, and the working with the county on that. Also, I will just put a plug in. They're always looking for volunteers when it comes time to set up and tear down when it's the cold weather season. It's a really big task and those teams have a lot of work. Come serve with me and help our community. Just a little plug for that. Other work that I'm involved in are, I do a lot of work with resources like hot meals, and we've got a wonderful coalition of hot meal providers. Actually, the Hot Meal Coalition, that's largely funded through human needs grants, provides almost 5,000 hot meals for free for people in Everett every single month. It's a wonderful program, and I really look forward to that continuing into the future, especially as there's more and more food scarcity that we're seeing in our community. I work with a lot of great other advocacy agencies and groups. I'm on the steering committee for Everett Faith in Action, which allows the city to have a healthy connection with the faith community in Everett. And then some of the other work that I do supporting existing programs. Some of that is code and planning related, so ongoing work with specifically shelter programs with their management plan, which is the program and operations that that's a way that we can have ongoing communication and development refinement of the program. Any way that we can mitigate any unwanted neighborhood impact, things like that. I do a lot of work with community outreach. I love getting to come to neighborhood meetings or speak at different events, which also then ends up giving me a place to sit on neighborhood advisory committees for a lot of these shelter programs. So with Interfaith and with Volunteers of America, with Everett Gospel Mission, and some of the other permanent supportive housing that have neighborhood advisory meetings, I get to be a city representative in that. And then the last thing that I would highlight as part of the work that the city has in addressing homelessness is working with businesses and residents with crime prevention through environmental design, which is CEPTED. So I get to go out and do site surveys for any business or any resident, anybody who needs help looking for ways to activate their space, activate their property in a positive way, and as a way to really address some of and reduce some of the negative activities that might be seen around the city. So that's a lot of the work that I do.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me share with all of you how our care team supports our citizens who are experiencing homelessness. We meet people where they are as we are, which is we approach them in an easily identifiable uniform, as I am, and where they are, where they're sleeping, whether it's outside in a makeshift shelter, in a vehicle. And our approach is relational, not just transactional. We build trust one conversation at a time. Sometimes it's a warm cup of coffee. Sometimes it's just sitting quietly beside somebody who's had a hard day. Our team connects individuals through proactive outreach at our parks, on our streets, and our encampments, on 911 calls where social support is what's needed, at our Everett Public Library, a place that they can find connection and refuge from the weather. And every engagement with these citizens begins with respect and choice. We don't push our support. We invite them to share their need. We ask them what support looks like for them and act when they are ready to receive it. Care team members assess needs by asking questions, listening deeply, and getting to know each person's story, because support looks different for everyone. Sometimes that's scheduling a medical appointment. It's walking someone to a clinic. It's buying them a pair of shoes, buying them a meal, connecting them to Emote, our health engagement hub, Esther's Place, providing them with access to detox or the diversion center or other sheltering options. There are times that we meet people in their moments of crisis, but also in moments of courage for those who are in crisis. Like when someone says, I think I want help, and we're there beside them to help them take those next steps. That first step is not just handing out a pamphlet or a phone number. We walk them through that process. We help them navigate these complex systems. We explain their options in plain language, and we stay present through uncertainty and hesitation. When they're ready, we facilitate a warm handoff. That's more than just logistics. They're moments of trust. When someone accepts our help, we don't just say, good luck and I hope you get there. We help them get there. We drive them to our service partners. We introduce them to staff. We advocate for them through their intake process. And we stay until that citizen feels safe and supported. So in conclusion, we offer education, encouragement, and hope. Even if someone isn't ready today, we show up again tomorrow because consistency builds trust and trust opens doors.
So I think I could speak for Kelly and I both when I say that I feel very fortunate to be part of this city team that has a compassionate and accountable focus. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions from council?
No, I just want to say thank you. I wanted to invite these two forward because there's just been a number of folks that have mentioned that we're not doing anything. And I wanted to remind our council and the community that we have some incredible team members that are doing a lot when it comes to helping those that are unsheltered in our community. So thank you so much both for what you do.
I had a quick question. You said about these, your goal was to add 277 more beds.
That's more than a goal. That's the number that we're looking for.
At-
That
at-
is established.
At what point in the next year? Or
Those
two-
are the three projects. So 277 beds represents the 80 beds at the Volunteers of America shelter that's opening imminently. That includes the Everett Gospel Mission Expansion Project and the 72 beds. It's currently 72. It might increase to 74 beds at the Salvation Army's New Start shelter, emergency bridge housing, I should say, on Everett Mobile.
Thank you.
And that's on top of the 300 plus that we've added. So,
Correct.
yeah,
Yes,
good job.
absolutely.
Great work. And I have no further comments.
We have a question. Councilmember Vogely.
Real quick, it's, you help everybody, not just citizens. That's a
I'm sorry?
semantics. You help all the people that need the help, that want the help, not just
Did I use that word?
residents,
I
rather than
meant to say
citizens.
residents. Thank you for the
Yeah,
clarification. Absolutely.
that's all.
Thank you. Okay, Merritt? Oh, no further comments? Okay, thank you very much for the report. Thank you again. All right, so we'll move to public comments, which includes written comment acknowledgement. Under our rules, you need to submit your name and city of residence to be part of our council record. Good evening, Angie. I know we have people to speak here in the chambers. Can we start with written comment acknowledgement and then you like to do online first? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So for written comments, we received the following people write in regarding the buffer zone from John and Lisa Phillips, Frank Zalinger, Donna Perigo, Ellie Wood, and Wendy Grove. And these were provided to council, legal, city clerk, and administration to be part of the record. So we have two individuals online. They wish to speak on the buffer zone. I'll ask them if they want to speak now or what do you think?
Ask us. I mean, it's going to be the first on the agenda if it's brought up from the table, so there isn't going to be that much of a distance.
Okay. So we'll start with Mason. I made you a panelist. Okay, Mason, if you could state your full name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak, and I'm going to try my timer on here and see if we can get that to work. Okay, go ahead.
Mason Rutledge, Everett, Washington. In Everett, homelessness isn't a distant headline, it's a lived reality. I'd like to share with you 3 stories. This summer I met Ricky. He lived in a tan Taurus with just the essentials. Parked between Broadway and Lombard, neighbors didn't seem to mind him. He picked up trash, kept the area clean, and even deterred trouble. His silhouette was often mistaken for a police car. Ricky took pride in his post. Then this fall, Ricky disappeared. I asked a friend nearby and learned the heartbreaking truth. Ricky had passed away. He was found in the front seat of his car, still at his post. The second story is a woman I've seen for years sitting mid-block on a busy Everett Street. I haven't spoken to her, but I learned she waits there for her brother. He once told her he'd come pick her up. So she waits, done up, packed up, and ready to go every day. Sadly, her brother died years ago. She waits nonetheless. The third story is of a stranger who used to sleep in the doorway of a business south of downtown. He never disrupted operations. In fact, he left the entry cleaner than he found it, always gone before opening. After a few calls from uneasy neighbors, police asked him to move along. He did. Since then, the business has faced daily cleanup and vandalism. They miss the quiet guardian who kept their shop safe. These are our neighbors, not outliers, not strangers. They've made Everett their home. They deserve care, support, and systemic change. I'm so thankful for Ben and Kelly and their work. And that work really does begin with compassion for the vulnerable, for the stranger, for the neighbor without a home. And yes, that compassion includes Everett no sit, no lie law. Compassion respects dignity by believing people are capable of contribution. But compassion doesn't mean complacency. Sometimes it means challenge. Passive tolerance can become neglect. True compassion requires action. As I understand from a previous meeting, that's why over the last 18 months, Everett police have issued 156 encouragements, warnings, under the no sit, no lie ordinance. These aren't citations. There's been less than one citation per month, 0 convictions, and 0 fines. Again, that was according to the meeting 2 weeks ago when this was tabled. This law gives officers a way to engage rather than just drive by like so many of us do. No sit, no lie might be the nudge that moves someone from addiction to awakening, homelessness to home, isolation to investment. It may help the stranger in the doorway. It may help the woman waiting to find mental health support. And maybe, just maybe, it could help keep Ricky from dying in the front seat of his car. Everett is a city that cares, and sometimes that care begins with the literal and figurative message, it is time to move. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Wendy. And if you could turn on your camera and unmute. And please state your full name, city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak when you see the timer.
Okay. My name is Wendy Grove, and I'm representing Everett Recovery Cafe in Everett, Washington. I'm a resident of Mount Vernon.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay, hello, good evening. I am advocating for allowing the ordinance providing for service facility buffer zones to expire. There's been so much good work done, hearing from Ben and Kelly, to address issues that arise from the struggles of our unhoused population. And while public safety is absolutely necessary, the buffer zone implementation has a negative impact. Our duty as both human beings and as community members is to support the healthy trajectory of people's lives. By allowing buffer zones, we are asking the question, how can we protect ourselves from you? The question we need to be asking is, how can we come together as a community and help you? How can we create a healthy, thriving community? I am lucky. I grew up in a stable household, fairly stable, with 2 parents who loved me. Many of our unhoused have not been lucky. They've suffered abuse, have lived with parents who had undiagnosed mental health conditions, often self-medicating for relief, and those cycles continue throughout generations. Some of us can pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Some of us need more help. And as it stands, our unhoused citizens symbolize our willingness to forget the plight of some of our neighbors. We don't have to choose between criminalizing public camping and extending services. The solutions lie in collaboration. We can choose to come together with intention and relentlessly pursue a solution, build on that good work that Ben and Kelly are doing. Find a better way, start pilot projects. At the Recovery Cafe here in Everett, we've learned that human growth jumpstarts when people feel valued. The buffer zones communicate the opposite. Let's change that. Let's be the city that figured it out. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen if we begin and we commit. And I have a quote to end my comments with from J.D. Rockefeller. It's impossible to find the best way to do anything. The best way to find the best idea is to have lots of ideas. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And next we'll move to those in chambers. And we'll start with John Carswell. And if you could please press the button on the base of the mic and state your full name, city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I'm John Carswell, 1611 Everett Avenue. Good evening, Mayor Franklin, Council. As a business owner in downtown Everett, I have seen significant improvements since the buffer zone was established 2 years ago. I would have been hesitant, frankly, to open a business downtown, but the city has really ended up stepping up. The buffer zone has made a tremendous impact on my business. Owning a restaurant, bar, and a music venue, I'm there literally morning, middle of the day, at night. My firsthand experience has been night and day since the time that the buffer zone was implemented. And I really feel like it's going to welcome more businesses. People are going to feel safer. So I just want to come in, strongly support the buffer zone, and I urge the city council to renew the ordinance so that our local businesses continue to grow and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, if Rich could please come to the podium, followed by Corlanda. Please state your full name, city of residence, and can you please press the button on the bottom? And you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Rich Ryan. I've been 13-year resident of Everett. Tonight, you're possibly deciding whether to criminalize people for simply being visible in public life. I want you to see this for what it is. It's a bill against our best interests as a community. Cities across the country have tried versions of this no sit, no lie law. Many have paid dearly for nothing. Boise, Idaho spent years in court on this, and they lost a $1.8 million decision. Grants Pass, Oregon, right down the street, was ordered to pay about $250,000. Spokane is being sued right now by the ACLU. They're literally in a lawsuit right now. As stewards of Everett, in good conscience, why would you walk us right into a lawsuit? This is not an abstract warning, but a tale of the tape. You can't arrest your way out of this, and the stats prove it. Speaking of stats, I've not found a single shred of evidence that this ordinance has connected even one single person to social services. If there is evidence of this, please, I'd like to see it. I haven't seen it. I've been digging. Ladies and gentlemen, we are better than this. Everett is a city of working class families, young professionals, seniors, folks who believe people deserve respect and dignity instead of criminal records for simply not having a home. When we pass laws of this nature, we are kicking the most vulnerable among us when they're already down. Today, we have a choice. We can spend taxpayer dollars defending lawsuits, chasing people around our public spaces, and deepening our divisions. Or we could spend that same time coming up with the actual solutions for this issue. Imagine if we, instead of passing a bill that could draw us into federal court, we invested a portion of that time into expanding the capacity of our shelters, partnering with unions and the local workforce on building affordable housing, strengthening rental protections for the 51% of Everett that's renting right now, and tackling the root causes of homeless rather than just sweeping it under the carpet. At the end of the day, every dollar we spend, every decision we make, every ordinance we create shows the world who we are. Let's choose compassion, not cruelty. Solutions, not scapegoats. Be the stewards of that Everett deserves. I ask you to vote no.
Thank you. Corlanda, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Sister Adelaide. Please state your first name or full name, city of residence. You have
Push
3
button.
minutes to speak. It's actually on.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Congratulations, Mayor Franklin. I am here to add to some of this, and then I didn't know you guys were going to be having me on YouTube either, so we'll talk about that later because I'll come professional next time. But I'm adding to all this stuff that's going on, and I do not agree to these people here either when it comes to being able to help people such as myself, who is an American, that is still unhoused, with all the programs that have misused my information, and I'm hacked and haven't gotten in no shelter or housing because I don't have the conditions they cater to. I don't have addiction problems. I can sustain myself, and I'm being told I can get help by all these programs that I'm ready to put in identity theft because I'm still ignored and going through a lot of suffering while they are catering to people that are not from the USA as well. So listening to everybody in this room, this is a community thing that we have to work on. Finding out again, like this gentleman that was very well spoken,
Ma'am, could you address the council,
but
not
we need to
behind
be
you?
able
Thank
to
you.
turn around because I tried to talk to people without all this rush. No one sat down to talk to me one-on-one how to resolve this solution. Number one, we all should be working together on how everybody can first honor the American rules and regulations, the constitutions and amendments, how we all can live together in harmony with that newness putting us out the streets too. I'm going and taking statistics of all the new homes and programs and jobs, and we're outnumbered as Americans. We have to follow rules. We need safe parking, safe housing. I don't need programs. I just need a affordable house. And then I'm on school under their programs being attacked because I don't have those conditions and I'm traumatized by listening and being attacked. So we need safe parking there. Well, I need a home that's affordable. Because if anyone can afford it on the programs, I need to get with that person to help me to afford it because I want to be on my own. I'm sick of the programs. Then on top of that, we need to be able to make it affordable, making sure there's equality everywhere. That's in the businesses and jobs and schools. Other than that, teamwork makes dream work. You turn back to God and find out what he does. We'll find out how Section 8 started, all that stuff, and get back to those basics or get rid of all the rules and let's start new ones. Peace, love, joy, and happiness.
Thank you. Sister Adelaide, if you could please come to the podium. Followed by Carly. And please state your full name, city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Sister Adelaide Mohammed. I'm a 28-year resident of Everett, 25 years in Seattle residencies. I wanted to, after voting yesterday, come out to the community here and offer a part-time assistance with research. That's the most credible assistance that I can offer to help the council. And I've left my information, personal data on one of the sheets and submitted it to the secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Carly, if you could please come to the podium. Please state your full name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Carly Zog. I live on Hoyt Avenue. So, who here likes camping? I know we all live in Washington. Camping's pretty fun. It's pretty common to do. It's usually a thing that we do in the summer, right? In tents with friends. We plan to. We do it for a few days, and then we come home to our houses where we live securely. Now, imagine, if you would please, if you were just out in the middle of winter, no tent, no friends, no food, no help, no shelter, no nothing. We have heard about the good work that people are doing to provide shelter and help to the unhoused members of our community, but what hasn't been addressed yet is where are those people supposed to go during the day? What about the people who cannot access the shelter beds because there aren't enough yet, or maybe there will never be enough because this is an ongoing problem that we have in our society. We continue to not take care of people and they keep falling through the cracks. That is going to continue. Telling people that they are not allowed to exist in certain parts of our city, their city too, is not helpful. That is not getting to the root of the issue. And that is not going to help us in the long term. It's not even going to help us in the short term. Like it doesn't actually improve anybody's lives. Like where are these people supposed to go during the day? We cannot just leave them out in the cold. These are human beings. Terrible things happen in our lives. These terrible things can disable us. They can debilitate us. They can leave us homeless. They can happen to all of us. They can happen to all of you. Please show some compassion when you vote.
Thank you. And the remaining wish to wait till we get to agenda item 9?
Okay, if item 9 is open, yes. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to council comments. So Councilmember Bader.
Thanks. No report, no comment tonight. Thanks.
Councilmember Ryan.
Great. Thanks, everybody, for your comments. I'll hold on to mine until we get to that agenda item. Let's see, over the weekend, I attended the ribbon cutting for Moss and Marigold on Colby. And so just wanted to remind everybody that to shop small and local this holiday season. Our downtown, if we all want it to be bright and vibrant and wonderful, and that involves all of us going downtown and shopping and enjoying it as well. So we'll do our part to activate it. I wanted to let everybody know that the council's latest newsletter is out and live. Folks are welcome to sign up for our newsletter at everettwa.gov. There's a subscribe button, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and a number of other ones too. And also wanted to give a shout out that our Lodging Tax Advisory Committee is now accepting applications for the 2026 lodging tax grants. And so public agencies and nonprofits are encouraged to apply by Monday, December 15th by midnight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Vogel.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight and really all the time. I appreciate all of you. I wanted to let you know that indeed in 2016, there was, let's see here, I'll just read this. It is obvious to the court that the homeless facilities in the city of Everett are grossly inadequate and leave no reasonable alternative for a large segment of the homeless population of Everett. So the conclusion is that for the foregoing reasons, Everett Municipal Code 8.56.010 in its application to the homeless population of the city of Everett is declared unconstitutional, dated this 12th day of January 2016. That was Bloom versus the city of Everett. It happened in 2016. It's already been done and gone. But just in case anybody wanted to know that ACLU stuff has happened in here, there it is. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Fosse.
Just wanted to say thank you to all the public speakers tonight. We really appreciate when you guys come and share your thoughts with us. And then second, my colleagues' comments and sentiments about shopping and buying local. Because if we don't keep up those efforts, we won't have any brick and mortar places to go to anymore. So your local businesses, please do support them. I know I try to go out of my way to buy local stuff. for the kiddos and whatnot each year, just to support local businesses, because that's another gift you can give. Quick reminder that next Tuesday is Veterans Day, honoring our veterans. So make sure to thank your own. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Tui.
Yeah, we had our Community Health and Safety Council Committee meeting tonight at 5 o'clock. And we had a briefing on the fire department standard of cover analysis that they are in the middle of. And we will have that report to council hopefully right after the first of the year. And then we also had a briefing on unlicensed street food vendors throughout the city. We've had some complaints and concerns from people throughout. And so we did have a briefing, and I think administration, Jennifer, is working on that with other agencies and municipalities. So more to come on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Zarlingo.
To follow up on that, I watched the meeting of the Community Health and Safety Committee today and had a couple of other pieces of that. I've before explained my respect and support of entrepreneurship and the businesses that support the community. These unlicensed food vendors are different. They're not businesses that operate according to our regulations. They don't pay local, state, federal taxes, workman's comp. They are not accountable to any city or county standards, and particularly they represent unfair competition to the food vendors of all kinds who play by the rules and support our city. Anybody who's ever run a food business knows how consistently difficult that is, and that's in terms of supporting local businesses. I think that's something that we can do to try to take action on that. It's a thorny problem, but one additional concern is, and I think address this to our residents, is food safety. In my time on the Snohomish County Board of Health, we had detailed discussions and made decisions on regulations for food trucks and kiosks. There are requirements for restroom access, sanitation, safe kitchens, and food preparation. And we as a board carefully evaluated the regulations and potential changes to put the lowest practical burden on food sellers that also protected public health. These unregulated food vendors are not part of that system, and there are reports that some of them are operated even out of state. That brings up a couple of other issues. One of them is exploiting employees. I can imagine that those employees, they're not getting Social Security contributions. They're not getting the kinds of things that support them long-term. And of course, this is a ripe avenue for wage theft. So those are all reasons I think that we're going to be looking closely at what we can do. And of course, in District 5, I have at least 4 or 5 of these pop-up food things that have occurred in my district. And I just would like that worked on. One other thing, a meeting last week for the Silver Lake Neighborhood Association. We had a briefing from Economic Development Director Dan Ernessy, and he covered the wide range of short and long-term kinds of things they're doing. His department working as a catalyst for economic development, along with our revitalized Everett Chamber of Commerce and Economic Alliance Snohomish County. Now, with these jobs and employment, if we could only generate enough housing along with job growth, but that's a discussion for another time. And then one last thing, in that same neighborhood meeting, we got a briefing and Q&A on the proposed manufactured housing zone by Alison Wetzel, our planning department's long-range planning manager. That fulfills our comprehensive plan goal of preserving naturally occurring affordable housing. It's a dense form of single-family housing, helps meet the needs of the elderly, those on low or fixed incomes, those who are disabled, and veterans. And I'll note from meeting a bunch of these folks that a number of them, significant number of the residents of these communities meet 2 or more of those criteria. The priorities for that new zone were established in our comprehensive plan update completed in June. Now, Alison and the planning department and the planning commission are working with to implement this zone, and I think it's expected before this council early in the new year. That's it.
Thank you very much. So I had a meeting with some trade councils here in Puget Sound, and the big subject was wage theft. So I want to thank Councilmember Ryan locally, and then Councilmember Fossey, both locally and statewide. The stories about human trafficking. I mean, we think of many different forms, but we have a human trafficking form for cheap labor. And so they'll bring workers from other parts of the state. They're basically encaged in hotels, and they're being underpaid. They're not following safety standards, and it's becoming a real big problem. So I just wanted to bring that up going to continue to bring that up, and wanted to thank a couple of council members for working on that, carrying the flag on that. Also, I want to thank the staff, mayor's staff for working on our project labor agreement for our upcoming public works projects. Thank you very much for that. And then I'm going to be a broken record. Please give to our local food banks. It's going to be a tough season this year for them. So, okay, thank you. We'll move on to administrative report.
All right. Well, at the Community Health and Safety Committee, we talked a little bit about cold weather shelter, and you heard a little bit more from Ben, but just as a reminder, when the temperature drops below 34, that's where when those facilities open, and I will just keep that in my admin updates so we can remind the community about those resources. Thank you, Council President Schwab, for mentioning food security, and just just to celebrate the work of our comms team. There's a flyer in English and Spanish that they developed that's on everettwa.gov/help. So there's 8 food banks in the Everett area. So there's a map and information about that. And then the other things that you heard about earlier about hot meals and some other resources that are there. And I think that, yeah, that was all that I had.
Okay, thank you. How about our city attorney, David Hall?
No report, but we are requesting a 10-minute executive session just prior to agenda item number 18 to discuss that collective bargaining agreement pursuant to RCW 423140 sub 4 with council action to follow.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to our consent items. We have 8 consent items. Do I hear a motion?
So move the consent items.
Second.
Okay, motion and second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, moving on. We have a tabled item, action item that was tabled 2 weeks ago. It could have been brought up last week, but it wasn't because we asked to hold off if a council member wished to make sure that administration had prepared the questions, many questions that we asked. So at this point, is there any council member that would like to make a motion to bring it back from the table?
Councilmember Bader, so moves.
Seconded.
Okay. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
To untable.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're voting on, for the record.
I
we have to
appreciate
vote.
that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Nah.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yeah.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, we have brought it from the table. It's action number 9. I'll begin with, do we have administration report at this point?
I can just flag, we sent a couple email, I guess I sent a couple emails to council, and so just thought I would flag that information that we shared with you. Question, I think maybe at the second reading was asked about how the reduction in calls compared to areas outside of buffer zones, and generally the police team looked at the buffer zone and then kind of doubled that outside, and all areas appear to be responding to the same underlying factors, and buffer zones do not, based on the call data, don't appear to displace crime to the immediate area surrounding the zones. And we shared that, I want to say a couple weeks ago before your last reading. And then we also shared some information about individuals who have been charged with buffer zone violation. So in the almost 2 years that it's been in place, there have been only 15 charges to 11 unique individuals. And 5 of them were charged with additional crimes during that event. Every individual that was charged has moderate to extensive criminal history in and around Everett. For the 11 individuals, kind of split in thirds. A third ended up lacking capacity to stand trial. About a third had charges that were dismissed because prosecution was focused on other charges that they were facing. And then the last third are still pending. There's just been one conviction. That defendant pled guilty to the buffer zone as part of a global plea agreement with 7 separate criminal charges, including 1 assault of an employee of a downtown business. Last piece, we also talked over your other readings on this item about how the buffer zone was used and how it impacts folks who want to serve individuals that are unsheltered on our streets. And Ben and Kelly kind of spoke to this a little bit, but just to pinpoint that, our community development team has found that the buffer zone ordinance is a useful tool. It's not a solution to homelessness. I think we said that every week. But it has allowed them to open up, or members of our team to open up communications with groups and individuals that want to provide goods and services. So when the staff hears about that, they're able to go out, have a conversation with a group or an individual that is looking to distribute water or flyers or food. They're not cited for that. They're just directed to the no-cost right-of-way permit process. And anybody who applies for one has received one. And then they've also kind of received those good best practices so that they can provide water or information or food, and then also make sure that our sidewalks aren't blocked. And that there's not debris left over afterwards, that it's kind of a good experience, both for the folks that are seeking services and those that have big hearts and want to give back, and then and everyone else in our community. So the team feels like that buffer zone permit requirement has allowed for healthy and productive discussions. And then there's a lot of other people who do the actual work on this that are also here if you have other questions on the item. And I think you have public comment too.
Yeah, so at this point, if council wants to ask questions like fact finding, it's a good time. Then you have a chance later to make a statement. If you have other things. So we have questions. Councilmember Fosse.
Can you remind me of the right-of-way permit process? Is that something that is instant? So if somebody is out there wanting to pass out water on a hot day, and they are approached saying that, oh, you need to do the permit, is this something they can just go online and do really quick? So at least you have a track record of that person if there's any later, or is it a time period to take for approval?
Not a same day. I know that it's free. So it wouldn't be like a fill the form out and keep on your way. So it takes a little more time than that.
But as our team has, and Ben, please correct me if I'm wrong, with if someone says somebody's out distributing water, Ben goes out to say, hey, guess what? You're in this area. You need to file for a permit next time, but they're not issued a citation during their delivery of water, correct?
Correct.
Please come up. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So the right-of-way permit, it's a free permit. It's very easy. It's a one-page application. It's not instant approval. However, in a situation like that, if somebody gave me a call and said, hey, there's somebody outside, I would love to come out and talk with them. I'm always happy when people want to care about people. So first and foremost, thank you for caring about our community. Also, part of what we're doing with this right-of-way permit is allowing to have a discussion. So I'm glad that you're bringing water, whatever it is. It'd be prudent, and part of the permit allows for us to talk about what happens when you leave. What are you doing for garbage? What are you doing particularly for distributing goods and services? The services would be something like Mercy Watch. Hey, you've got legit people out here. If you're doing food, have you thought about a food handler's permit? Some of those basic responsible aspects of caring for our neighbors, matching your good intentions with some good practices.
Have you considered because a lot of complaints and things that I've heard about the inhumanity of banning giving goods to people of those that are in need by just random neighbors who may not be from organizations, who I would assume organizations would fill out the permit and do that in advance. But if you have, just a good spirited neighbor that sees a need and wants to hand out, extra water bottles or whatever on a hot day to those that might need it, a more expedited process. So you still are able to have that conversation with them, but something where they could still continue to hand out those water bottles, but they can document who it is. And so you have recourse if something happens.
Yeah, maybe before I address that, could I just address maybe the misnomer? This is not banning people from doing good. This is it's creating an avenue for accountable and reasonable, responsible caring for people. And I think that we sometimes can get caught up like, I can't hand this person or anybody a cup of water. I think this is really targeting and working to build those partnerships with people who have an intention in doing this on a regular basis. And often in those situations, I've encountered, and in fact, I've brought pictures to the same group the next week they've been out. Hey, I just want you to know, we really want to work together so that as you're caring for people, we're not leaving 15 bags of garbage that our park staff have to clean up. We're not leaving all of this stuff here. So that's the intention of that. So it's not, primarily, I want to make sure that we're saying it is not a restriction on caring about people. It's a way to build responsible distributions.
Appreciate that. So with like the one-offs of a neighbor just wanting to give kindness, is that something that still is required to have a permit?
Technically it is, but the likelihood, I guess, if I go out and hand somebody a water on a hot day, we're not gonna, this is really, if you see somebody out with a pallet of goods and they're trying to share them, that's what causes a call to City Hall or a response from the city in any level. If you were out there giving a couple water bottles to neighbors, I don't think anyone would even notice, let alone call to say, hey, I'm concerned that there's gonna be, so it wouldn't even come to our attention, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm asking in the way of, in consideration of sentiments of the public who push back against this, because I understand the desire for accountability in the littering and whatnot. But then there's also some folks who like to give that mutual aid, who feel like they do have a prohibition against them. So that's why I asked if there was a more expedited thing. So if they were caught up in that you could rectify it in the moment and it would kind of take care of some of those concerns.
I think one piece of this is there is at least one individual that's on the list of folks who've applied for a right-of-way permit. So a single person found their way to that one-page PDF and found it to be a reasonable process. So that has happened. I think we can certainly take that into account when looking at kind of our procedures and how fast that process moves.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Appreciate it.
Any other questions on the facts? We can make statements later. Go ahead, Councilmember Ryan.
Thanks. Also on the same topic, don't go too far. If I remember correctly, the right-of-way permits are for, it's not just a one-time and one-day permit. It extends for a while.
Annual right-of-way permit.
Great. Yeah, thanks. So it's not that, so if one person were to get it, it would last for a whole year.
Correct.
Thank you.
Good question. I didn't know that. Thank you. Any other questions on the facts? Okay, Council. Okay, thank you. And administration, any more report? Okay, so we'll open up now for public comment. And please restrict your comments to, well, you can say whatever you want, I guess, but if we could restrict it to item number 9, that would be very helpful.
So we'll start with Jose, if you could please come to the podium. And please press the button on there we go. State your full name, state of residence. You have 5 minutes to speak.
Yes, Jose Villalaz, resident of Everett for more than 10 years. I live in the Port Gardner neighborhood, and I live right across from the Compass Health facility. They also have Andy's Place, which is that low barrier housing for patients and residents. You're basically fairly aware of the situation of safety and security issues that we continue to face there on a daily basis. Our goal will continue to be to ask Compass Health for accountability of their patients and residents. Some of the residents have behavioral issues that really require more help that they're not able to provide. And just to have those patients and residents basically be walking the streets with nobody taking care of them is what causes some of the 911 calls in our neighborhood. That basically is a safety issue and also a security issue because many of me and my neighbors were not qualified to deal with these mental health crises. We're not being disrespectful to the homeless. Many of us have done outreach. I've done outreach to the homeless. However, we also believe that there is law and order. Just because one is homeless does not mean that you get to come into our neighborhood and trash it. And I'm talking about vandalism of our homes, of our vehicles, doing drugs, leaving trash behind. Those are thefts. on our properties, of which we are the ones who have to pay for it. We are the ones that have to clean it up. That frustration is lawless. When one individual who's homeless or several do that week after week or over the years, they don't care about the neighborhood. So for us, this buffer zone has been a way to be able to call the police and let them know that we have homeless individuals loitering in the neighborhood. We're not being disrespectful, but we do, I've spoken to some of them over the years, and some of them have different issues. They all have their own story. I might be old fashioned, but I believe that sometimes talking to them and encouraging them to do something like get a job, maybe seek some of the help that some of the services that the city, the state, and the county provide might be a good way for them to improve on themselves. This buffer zone for us residents, we know it's a tool. We know it's not going to last forever. While we have it, we'll continue to work with Compass Health. It is a situation in our neighborhood. We're dealing with many different issues, as you're aware. We have the jail about 2 blocks away. We have a lot of abandoned properties. We're in a SOTA zone. We have several low barrier facilities coupled with residential houses, apartments, townhomes, and yes, our homeless population. It is just a very, it's a special mix, and it's from day to day, it's not always the same, but I always will encourage the council, feel free to reach out to us. You're more than welcome to come and spend the night in my house to kind of take a look at the situation, because sometimes maybe that might be the best way for people to see it. I always tell people, feel free to reach out, come and spend an evening in our neighborhood, walk the streets so that you get to see what we see. We respect law and order, and we're very thankful that not just the city, but the police have allowed us to be able to have extra patrols. Ben Breeden has helped us too by being out there and reach out those individuals who set up camp on our streets. And going forward, City Council and Mayor's office, just know that sometimes our frustrations do reach high levels with the disrespect sometimes from Compass Health and some of the people on the street. In no way is this to embarrass the city, but I do have a camera. I have done a few live streams, and I have left it off. But in any case where if we see in a situation that we're not getting some of the answers from Compass or some of their security issues, I will not hesitate to leave it on.
Thank you. Next, if Alexis could please come to the podium, followed by Darren. Please state your full name, city residence, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I live in Everett. There's a belief that buffer zones are criminalizing people simply for existing in these areas. But when you look at the data, that's just not what's happening. Another common misunderstanding is that buffer zones somehow ban acts of kindness, but like we've already talked about, that's simply not the case. The intent of the ordinance is to ensure that organized efforts to distribute food or supplies are coordinated so that these don't become congregation points that undermine the progress people are trying to make. We all want people warm, fed, and supported. If I buy a sandwich and share it or give someone a blanket, I'm not breaking any law. But if a group decides to hand out 100 sack lunches without coordination, that creates challenges for both those receiving services and the surrounding community. It's also really apparent to our neighborhood when there's people that have come out and distributed goods that hasn't gone through the permitted process because it's everywhere. It's just everywhere. There's suitcases everywhere. There's blankets everywhere. It's all left behind. But we've noticed that when it's organized, people tend to take better care of their things and take it with them, and all the trash goes with them as well. So I appreciate that part of having the buffer zone. And I'm really speaking specifically about my buffer zone. I don't know about anybody else's. I'm 33rd and Lombard. So again, I believe that I think we all want the same thing for people to be safe, supported, and given a real opportunity to stabilize. But to get there, we need to be clear-eyed about the facts and use responsible tools available. Extending the buffer zone doesn't mean increasing punishment. It means maintaining structure and accountability while continuing to approach enforcement with compassion and restraint. These zones, particularly my service facility buffer zone, aren't about protecting just businesses and homeowners. Aside from Housing Hope, Hope Works, Compass, Millennium Ministries, VOA, The Mission, and various others, our neighborhood is made up of majority low-income renters who are on vouchers. Our neighborhood is made up of sober housing, DOC housing, low barrier housing, single moms, the self-employed. We are all just one paycheck away, right? So we get it. Our neighborhood is made up of the very people utilizing 211 and coordinated entry. Our neighborhood is the newly housed and the vulnerable community. In my neighborhood, a buffer zone is about protecting people in the programs. This buffer zone is designed to give those who are working to rebuild their lives a chance at success by reducing the distractions and triggers that pull them back into crisis. The people in my neighborhood that would be subject to buffer zone violations are people who are resistant to services. They participate in open air drug use, drug dealing, overdoses, theft, vandalism, trash, trespassing, and loitering. I watch people overdose just about every week. It is not fair that I get to sit and watch people die all the time. The buffer zone helps people. My neighbors and I canvassed the 2-block neighborhood, and we had over 40 families sign the petition asking for this. This isn't people from outside the neighborhood. This is us directly in the 2-block radius, and our voices matter. We are the individuals and families who deal day in and day out with the added weight of having so many needed, necessary, and valuable services. Like I've told you before, I stop when they're slumped, and I pick them up and I take them. I take them to the walk-in clinics to get their legs bandaged. I bring them in my home when they've fallen and they're bleeding. We take their bodies out of the ditch behind my house. Okay? We are not people that don't care. But we also are a community full of people who are new to receiving housing and new to receiving services. And how are you supposed to get clean and sober and keep your housing if what's outside your door are the exact things that brought you there? They deserve breathing room to get clean, to get their recovery, to get back on their feet, and to keep going. We would appreciate it being extended for another 2 years. We are doing everything we can as neighbors to bolster changes in the neighborhood. We are constantly working with code enforcement, parking enforcement on the trap houses and the slumlords. We're informing our neighbors on CPTED principles. We help people find housing and services when they're willing to find them and take them. And we're diligently working with Compass Health and their operational standards that have caused the majority of the problems. Recently, they seem to become more willing to make some big changes that would help all of this. I don't think we're going to need this in another 2 years. I know the changes that we've been all working for the last 2 years, and I know that 2 years from now, we're going to say, thank you so much, but we don't need this anymore. So thank you.
Thank you. Darren, could you please come to the podium, followed by Austin? Please state your full name, city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, I'm Darren Brown. I live in Everett. I work for the post office. I grew up in Everett. My granddad was an executive at Boeing. My dad also works at Boeing. He's involved in 777 and 787 planning. Sorry, I was, yeah.
Karen, do you want us to come back to you? Give you another few minutes? Okay, no problem. So we'll go to Austin, if you could please come to the podium. Followed by Elizabeth. And please state your full name, city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Austin, Everett. Well, here we are again discussing how to most effectively criminalize some of the most marginalized members of our community. How is it that this council believes it best to extend the no sit, no lie, no give ordinance, even though it has proven to do nothing but harm our most at-risk neighbors? This ordinance claims, and I quote, "It is expressly the purpose of this ordinance to provide for and promote the health, safety, welfare of the general public," more like wealthy campaign donors, "and not to create or otherwise establish or designate any particular class or group of persons," et cetera, et cetera. How can you possibly expect arresting people who are attempting to obtain vital services to not intensify class divide? How can you possibly expect sending someone to jail, putting them further into debt, will improve the homelessness situation in the city? To go off script, I've talked with people who have been arrested. It's not just a friendly warning. The 150 something people you said that have had instances, it's not a friendly warning. It's a harassment. And it's traumatizing and it's not helping the situation. It really isn't. These buffer zones, are they really keeping people out of these zones? They don't seem to be. How do you exactly expect criminalizing homelessness to succeed? I'd like you to show me one case study that has proven that criminalizing homelessness is effective. You can't, because there isn't. It has been shown across the country that a housing first model or a model of similar design that prioritizes humanization of people who are unhoused is the only way to improve homelessness in the United States. The only way to improve the homelessness situation in the city is to improve the lives of those who are unhoused, not demonize and criminalize their existence. All this legislation does is push unhoused folks further and further away from what resources the city does offer. But we can see through the smoke and mirrors. From our perspective, that is exactly what the mayor and council members who vote for this ordinance extension want. You want us out of sight and out of mind so that you can gentrify our downtown city center. I urge members of this council to vote no for the extension of the no sit, no lie, no give ordinance, and explore proven methods for alleviating the symptoms of severe poverty within our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Alvaro, and please state your full name, city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, Elizabeth Wood, a resident of Everett. I'm also the CEO of Imagine Children's Museum, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here in support of extending the buffer zone ordinance before it expires. It significantly improved visitor safety and operations for Imagine Children's Museum. The museum is a major anchor of downtown that draws more than 250,000 families each year, and it's important to be a safe and secure location. Since the implementation of the ordinance, the museum has had significantly fewer complaints from visitors and staff and have had to place fewer emergency services and police calls. Our overall non-emergency calls decreased from 39 made in 2023 to just under 10 in 2025, the majority of which were before the downtown ordinance was implemented. The museum has also taken steps to create a positive environment within our campus with the addition of murals at the corner of Pacific and Colby. In all of this, we've seen dramatic improvements in terms of cleanliness, foot traffic, and overall positive environment. And they've created a better perception of downtown and continue to build the well-being of our community. This progress is not accidental. Prior to the ordinance inception, Imagine Children's Museum had regular issues of trespassing, open drug use, public indecency, and trash around the museum properties. Some of these instances included threatening behavior towards children and families visiting the museum, and those issues are now generally non-existent. Establishing these buffer zones has also meant the opportunity to create these greater supports for everyone in downtown, from the care teams and the social workers and all of those who work and live. It's very important and fully part of our vision to understand that everyone deserves a safe, vibrant community Everyone is someone's child. And to that end, we need to support everyone from businesses to residents so that we can continue to see growth and popular experiences in downtown. And we urge you to extend the buffer zone ordinance so that we can preserve those gains and continue to build a safer, welcoming downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Vero, if you could please come to the podium, followed by John, and please state your full name, city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Alvaro Guillén, I'm elected as resident, but I have been working in Everett for 20 years. Mayor Franklin and council members, I'm here today to request extending the buffer zone in South Everett, particularly after the closure of Fred Meyer in the Casino Road neighborhood. I want to acknowledge that the buffer zone does not solve homelessness, addiction, or mental health illness. These are housing and health challenges that need a holistic and robust support systems, not only here in Everett, but also in the surrounding cities to support their own residents. Before the buffer zone was implemented, we had 7 windows broken in our community center, the village on Casino Road, in just a couple of weeks at the cost of close to $2,000 each window. Our parking lot was used as a bathroom. Drugs were hidden in bushes, bloody fights in our courtyard while children were present, people intoxicated walking in, even one person walking, holding up a syringe and threatening in a threatening way what preschoolers were in the courtyard. I witnessed that. We saw even a couple having sex in our parking lot at the same time while preschool children were dropping to their classes. In the winter, when it gets dark earlier, families were afraid of coming to evening programs at the center. In the current environment, many families are experiencing a lot of stress. Removing the buffer zone would add more stress to many residents in the Casino Road neighborhood. With over 5,000 people walking into our community center each year, it is a big responsibility for us to keep them safe. Since the buffer zone was implemented, we have seen a significant decrease in these incidents becoming more tranquil and accessible to families and children. At the recent listening session, the biggest concern residents shared was safety and security, specifically around Fred Meyer, now that it has been closed. I ask you to keep the buffer zone without criminalizing the most vulnerable. Thank you for your commitment to the safety of Everett neighborhoods.
Thank you. John, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Jane. Please state your full name, city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name's John Klosterman from Everett. And when I first heard about this no sit, no lie law, there was something vaguely off-putting about it. And it's because it's profiling, like what allows ICE to grab people because they're brown or speak Spanish. And when I was impressionable lad long ago, I was told that the thing that makes our legal system the best in the world is people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And I know there's plenty of evidence that that's probably never been true, but it was in the South or some crummy banana republic or lousy, rotten communists. Not here, not us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Katie. And please state your full name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor Franklin, City Council members. My name is Jane McClure. Thank you for letting me have a couple of moments. I was not aware that my founding director of Everett Recovery Cafe was going to be making comments this evening. Therefore, I am not going to make comments that would be in opposition to anything that she has to say. So I want to thank you for your time and compassion. And I want to also acknowledge how much of a brain trust we have in this room tonight of people who are dealing with this, working with our situation. And there is the potential for a lot of conversation that could be held among these people towards looking for answers that are a little bit closer to what could move our community forward. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Katie, if you could please come to the podium. Followed by Mary. And please state your full name and city residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
My name's Katie Granith. I live here in Everett. And I wanted to ask you to allow the buffer zone, no sit, no lie to expire, to vote no on that. I can't think of a better argument than hearing someone, who spoke earlier today, who's a big proponent of it, saying, I live in a buffer zone and I'm watching people overdose every day. I'm not sure how effective a buffer zone is then if that is happening. And I'm not sure that it sounds like people want to help people a lot, and you guys are putting a lot of effort into that. And I think that that's awesome, and we should continue to do that and let things like this lie. Doesn't seem like it's really helping to me. And based on what our neighbors are sharing, it doesn't seem like they think it is either. So thank you.
Thank you. Mary, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Rudy. Please state your full name and city residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Mary Granith, and I also live here in Everett. And I have just a brief comment from myself, and then also a statement from a concerned citizen who couldn't be here today. So myself, I just want to ask that the council reject this ordinance criminalizing sitting, laying down in public spaces or offering help to people is wrong. And I think it's cruel, and it only serves to bring more harm into our community. I know that a lot of folks want to say that doing so isn't going to criminalize, neighbors handing out water bottles or a blanket or anything like that. But actually, you added a technically in there, Mayor, but it does technically, doesn't it? So maybe right now, currently, there's the belief that that's not going to affect people, but I don't think you can see the future, so I don't know how you could possibly guarantee that, and I find that a little bit hard to believe. And now I'd like to read from a statement from somebody who couldn't be here today. The Everett Municipal Ordinance, commonly referred to as no sit, no lie, no aid, effectively criminalizes both the condition of homelessness and any effort of Everett citizens to try and help their neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. In the time since this ordinance was passed, we have not seen a decrease in the population of unhoused individuals in Everett. What we have seen is a significant increase in the suffering of those individuals as they struggle to shelter themselves from inclement weather and make their way to places where they can acquire food and clothes and other vital supplies. Our unhoused population in Everett has also recently seen a sharp increase in elderly folks due to cuts in Medicare. But elders have always made up a large percentage of our unhoused neighbors, along with veterans, disabled folks, LGBTQIA+, and Two-Spirit people, and families with children. No sit, no lie, no aid is a draconian ordinance that not only does nothing to alleviate the conditions that cause or perpetuate homelessness, it is itself a direct cause of folks' inability to get off the streets due to having to deal with legal harassment on top of everything else. I urge this council to vote down any extension or expansion of this ordinance and focus instead on helping our unhoused neighbors find shelter this winter by expanding access to cold weather shelters and other safer spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rudy, if you could please come to the podium, followed by Darren. Please state your full name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Rudy Castro. I had actually wrote down some things tonight, but sitting here for the few minutes that I've been here, I see that, it's just a lot of information here that really hasn't been talked about because there's two sides to this. And basically, you have a great police department. Had a few incidents with them, but, for the most part, they've been pretty kind people to me too. I've met a lot of kind people here that fed me, kept me going and stuff. The weather sucks right now, but we make the best of it. I don't know if I'm against it or, with it, but the bottom line for me is that, it definitely needs, to be revised and stuff because, from my end and stuff, I could tell you that, it doesn't seem that fair. But, I could see the other, people's point of view about, garbage and all that. So, I would, be happy to see you guys, really take the time to, look into it because, it's under that flag, the one thing I remember in school, we're all equal. And, being out there, it, doesn't seem that way. So, thank you.
Thank you. And Darren, would you like to come to the podium?
Hey, thanks. Uh, yeah, so I'm here to, ask you guys to vote no on that ordinance for the buffer zone. There's a number of different strategies tackling, issue. But the strategies that are again related to those, it's the same tactics. They end up costing cities more than just building houses to house all the homeless people. It's literally cheaper just to build the houses than to increase policing and create hostile architecture. All of those strategies, they end up costing taxpayer dollars more than even just building the houses. But so there's other strategies that are more cost effective. But thanks.
Thank you. And if Michelle could please come to the podium. Please state your full name, city residence. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Michelle Pendergrass, Everett, Washington. Thank you for letting me speak. I couldn't get out of work earlier. And I didn't prepare a speech until about the last 5 minutes. But when I first came in, the lady who was talking was, of course, how can we not like feel for what she's saying? Like she's seen overdoses and drug addicts everywhere. But I started to think about it. And is that a reason to have a clean and sober homeless person not allowed to sit there for a minute? Or, I just, like, what are we addressing? I think what we're addressing is the visual look of homeless people when no one wants to see them. And so if that's the case, then let's address it by giving them a place to go. And so I know that's what everybody said. And I also, the guy who has the preschool near Fred Meyer's, like, I'm sure all of you are like, oh, this is terrible. Everything he said is just terrible. But it was all, again, about, well, it wasn't all about drug addicts. There were other things, but like homelessness isn't the problem in any of those individual circumstances that he gave. For him, it wasn't even that he saw somebody sitting on the sidewalk. Yet it gives a chance for the cops to mess with those people who are already having a rough time of it. I know that Rudy gets woken up on average like 3 times a night to get up, pack up his stuff and move on to find a new spot that he can, try to sleep. And so, if only he could just have a place to go sleep. And I'll just say the other thoughts came to me. There was a mention of the number of emergency calls and, by the preschool guy. And I just wondered, or no, I'm sorry, by the museum lady. What percent of those calls were like some sort of aggressive situation and what percent were somebody, was unsightly? And then also I wanted to know, or point out that, not everyone who is subject to buffer zone laws is a drug addict. I think our Chief would agree with me. And then also, buffer zones do criminalize homelessness. That's exactly what it does. It criminalizes homelessness. I mean, or laziness, maybe if you're just, I don't know, or fatigue. Also, two other things.
If you could finish up.
Consider no littering as an option, as an alternative law. And then, I do agree, we should at least rewrite it to remove the no aid part, if nothing else. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And that concludes our public comments.
Okay, thank you everybody for speaking. All right, so we've finished public comment. We have council item number 9, Council Bill 2509-53. It has been read into the record and is brought from the table. Are there any council comments or discussion or motions? Yeah,
I think we already had one.
I think we already had a motion, so
I have an actual question.
go ahead.
In the original whereases, and I don't have it in front of me right now, one of them was, okay, my question. I'm curious if there have been any residents or corporations or entities that have wanted to bring a shelter into their neighborhood since this service facility buffer zone has been in place, because I know that that was one of the whereases and it's not in this one. I have a feeling I know the answer, but I'm curious because we don't have a day shelter yet, and the budget is such that it's terrible. So I'm sorry I didn't ask earlier.
Not just day shelter, so service facility in general. And I think that we have had growth in that in the last.
Yeah,
So.
I know Julie Willie's here, Community Development Director. I know it's, if she has anything to add, please get up and come to the podium, but we talk about it with providers that as you're looking to site a new location, we do have this tool, should it be necessary. One of the things that inspired its development was the challenges of siting facilities. And so I don't know if any facility has taken that to heart and said, oh, okay, we might be able to use this. I know I haven't signed off on any new buffer zones around a new facility, but
No, I think we've mostly just used it to address, like, for example, UCC shelter, when that shelter was first developed there was a lot of preying on the shelter residents, and EGM was concerned because they couldn't protect their clients. And so the buffer zone gave the community a tool to say, I'm sorry, you can't prey on the people that are here for shelter. And it also helped the business. It also gave us an opportunity to continue to talk about what we need in our community and build more shelter and try and get more money through grants, through partnership to try and create more shelter. I don't know if that totally answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yes. And because I'm a English speaking person, I know how difficult it is. It's prey, P-R-E-Y is what you were saying. So they don't prey on the people. Okay.
Prey, P-R-E-Y.
Yeah. Pray all you want with the A-Y. I can have comments, but if there's other questions, then I will stop for now.
So for the record, we had a motion pass, and then we had to do that before we could table it. So then it's tabled. So now it's above. So at this point, the only other motion would be to table it, amendment, or pass it. So any other? Just for the record, it's on the table. It can be passed, amended, or tabled again. Okay, is there any other questions or comments from council? Okay, is there any other motions?
I think we need one.
I just have.
We
some
do need,
comments, but if there's more
we do need a motion to pass it. Oh, no, I guess we don't. Okay, so if there's
Council
any more
President,
at this point,
Yeah, the motion's on the table, so you
Yeah,
could have
so-
the clerk call
Motion's
the
from-
roll.
Motion's been taken from the table and it's before the council now.
Yeah, so it's from the table, so here it is. You could have the clerk call the roll, or a council member could make
Yes.
further comments or an
Yes.
amendment.
thank you. Okay,
Sure, I'll make comments.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
So there's approximately 44,255 households in Everett and approximately 43,800 housing units. So there's about 455 more households than there are units available in Everett. And this year's point in time count had 1,140 people experiencing homelessness in Snohomish County. And at any given night across the whole county, there's only about 600 shelter beds across the county, leaving a delta of about 500 people with literally no place to go at night. So between 450 more households than available units in the city and 500 more people than available shelter beds in the county, where are people supposed to go? I know every single person in this room wants to end homelessness. And let me be really clear here. I also don't want people sleeping in doorways or defecating in bushes because they have no other option. I hear the feedback of business owners and neighbors across my district and in the zones that have had relief. But I've also heard from constituents in other areas of my district outside of the zones that they are experiencing an increase in foot traffic and encampments. But at the middle of all of this is a person without a home and nowhere to safely go who is seen as the problem. The buffer zone's flaw is that it solves the homelessness problem in the zone, but at the expense of people outside of the zone. And it especially doesn't solve the homelessness problem for the person who is homeless. Housing solves the homelessness problem. Buffer zone or not, graffiti, drug dealing, assaults, break-ins, thefts, vandalism are all still criminal acts. And they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. I completely empathize. And buffer zone or not, emphasis patrols can be activated for areas with increased criminal activities. And buffer zones or not, our amazing social workers can still be called to serve those in need. Today, I'll be voting no, and my no vote is in no way a criticism of our city's amazing social work team, our police officers, and our community development team. I have deep, deep respect and appreciation for the difficult work that you do every single day with insufficient resources and complex circumstances. And I'm really glad to hear about the progress that's being made to provide shelter options. But until we have adequate day and night sheltering options for people experiencing homelessness where they can go, instead of sidewalks and carports, I can't in good consciousness support a policy that punishes people for being the collateral damage of a broken system. Thanks.
Okay, so any other comments from council or? Okay. Okay, oh, we're going to take a vote. Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Folkley.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, oh my gosh, hearing those stories is absolutely incredible. And I'm glad I didn't wear mascara because it would be messy. Like I hear all of you, and like the Mason earlier, just to start out with those incredible stories of real human beings, because there are all real human beings. You know what I'm going to do. Of course, I'm going to vote no. And I had a big, long, dissertation a couple weeks ago, but it's amazing to hear the reasons why some folks think that we should have the buffer zones. Like, I hear your stories. I can't consciously or unconsciously vote to keep this up because it's not right. What is right is that people are getting help, and I hope that that will continue. And what is right is that there's not all of the horrible things that are happening, still happening, but horrible things continue to happen every day, buffer zone or not. So I will stop there. I will say it's also billionaires are at fault. So if we could get together because I don't think any of us in here are billionaires. I don't know you all. But there is an issue with hoarding of wealth. And if we could get that kind of figured out and get some taxes paid, fair share stuff, that would really help us not have to have these buffer zone type conversations in this arena. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Councilmember Fossey.
Hoarding the wealth. Okay. So flashback, the reason why that this particular original ordinance had a sunset on it is because I had asked to amend it to have a sunset that we could reevaluate it later. I still had, I believe, voted no on the original one. And so I appreciate that this particular vote is to extend that sunset. I think that that is
very, very wise and a savvy approach that you guys made with that, because it allows for a reevaluation and, you know, the next council to take everything as a whole into consideration. Also the reports and whatnot, I thought by the city and administration that was a very thoughtful, collaborative approach. I still am not a fan about removing the power of our legislative authority and putting it in the city for approval of independent buffer zone areas. But your change to this, I see as an attempt for a middle ground on that. We are not going, no matter what happens tonight, no matter what we do, we are not going to see a decrease in our unhoused population. Even if we have immense success and everything goes our way with getting people assistance, it is going to get worse. And this is what we're looking at with regards to the changes way above our ability to impact things at that federal level. It's really going to have some serious impact on our neighbors. So anything that comes forward next and the conditions and everything like that, that's not necessarily a reflection, I think, of the success or failure of actions like this and other efforts in our amazing teams and social workers that go out and try to assist and help folks. So please keep that in mind in future evaluations of how things are, because it's not going to be easy out there for any of us. I do think that there is a lot of issues with this particular policy aside from the humanity and dignity aspect. And I have listened to all of the folks writing in saying, you know, anecdotally that they have seen the progress or they've seen things get better, things get safer here. And I'm sure there is like a truth element to that they have seen positive things in their area. And I think that on the other side, folks concerned about what this is actually doing directly to our unhoused neighbors, I think there's truth there too. And I think that there is room to make this better and more positively impactful and less negative harm and more acceptance in the community. And so right now I'm kind of torn on my vote because I do appreciate that it's just an extension of the sunset. But I'm wondering if the mayor and administration might be willing, as suggested by a previous speaker. Jane had spoken and said, you know, you have really great minds and expertise and everything in this arena. And a lot of folks have brought up the other issues of littering and some of the other ways they think that this could be better and less of a negative impact on folks and try to mitigate that. Originally, I was again going to be a no on this, but if there is commitment from the city and the administration to have that kind of open table conversation with change that could happen and suggestions coming from the community. So this is put on the community too, to be able to actually come up with ideas to make this better, to make this more feasible. Because right now, my vote, yes or no, probably won't change the direction of this. But it's what I can offer in this moment to hopefully encourage, you know, our administration to do that. And I know right now we're lucky with the administration we have, but the way these policies are, they won't always have such a soft implementation of these rules. So if there is something that you guys can do in convening a table of folks, allowing for that forum for people to provide ideas and maybe negotiate on some of the terms to try to mitigate some of those impacts a little bit more. If the public was open to that, would you guys be open to committing to something like that?
Your question is would we be willing to convene a group of providers and people with lived experience and have a conversation about what would work to support the community? I think that has always been part of our work. And We most recently did it with the Drug Crisis Task Force, so I haven't set the agenda for our teams for the next months yet, but we'll be working on that over the next couple of weeks. And I will talk to the community development team about that.
Okay.
Yes.
My concern is also for folks of the public who may not necessarily be leading some of those, but also an avenue for them to provide suggestions and feedback on that.
Always. So Ben Breeden is here. He's our homelessness coordinator. Wave your hand again. If you have feedback on the work that we're doing, Ben would be a fantastic point person for connecting with the community. And then as we set our work plan over the next few weeks, we will let the community know if we can do a convening soon.
Okay. So you guys have it, you know who to contact there. And
Easy.
And so that would be an optimal time for you guys to provide feedback to make this better. Given the status that we are going to have more unhoused people, we are going to have a lot more hungry people, we are going to have a situation before us, and we previously have not been able to pass any levies to actually support some of the services of the city. This really requires the public to change the game. So your guys' engagement and feedback and involvement is really, really important in this moment and going forward to make that change, to make it so that we can have these services and these beds available, to make sure that those get prioritized in our funding. So please be engaged, continue to be that way. And persistence pays off. So that's all I'm going to say for tonight. Thank you for your commitment to working with the public and all of our experts and convening that. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll just finish it up here. And part of the reason why I'm here is because the passion and love this community has. So a message for this room, your passion, please change that to energy. If you can contribute, and I don't want to make a favorite name, we have so many charitable organizations in Everett. Please give if you can. If you don't have the means to give, please show up and spend your time. And for those that are watching online tomorrow, evidently, thank you. And I have the same message for you. It's good, and I'm glad we can use social media and other means to communicate to each other, but let's encourage each other to step up. And thank you, Councilmember Fossey. There's a certain threat, a reality out there that things may turn worse for funding for our social network in Everett. So please show up and give when you can. And so at that point, clerk, will you please take the roll?
A point of clarity, we had a passed motion to bring the council bill back from the table. We still need a motion and a second to pass the ordinance.
Okay, all right. I thought for clarification, we're under the impression that there was a motion and a second that brought it to the table, and then it was tabled. Are you saying on the separate meeting, we need to have another motion?
We need a motion and a second to pass the ordinance.
Okay.
Council President, my understanding of parliamentary procedure is the same as yours, that the motion and the second that were made 2 weeks ago
yes,
have been brought back to the table, and that was the motion and the second that we are now referring to.
Okay, we good? All right, I just thank you for bringing it up. I just want to make sure since you're a recording administrator. So clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
No.
Councilmember Vogely?
No.
Councilmember Fossey?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. And at this time, we will take, if you could put 12-minute Okay, thank you for your patience. Recess is over. We are on order, items 10 and 11. We have 3 proposed action items tonight. All of them have a public hearing and a briefing. First, I'll read items 10, 11 into the record, and then we'll open the public hearing. So item number 10, Council Bill 2510-59, first reading. Adopt an ordinance levying the EMS property taxes for the city of Everett for a fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2026 on all taxable property, both real and personal, subject to taxation thereon. Third and final reading, 11/19/25, and I will now open the public hearing for that. Then item number 11, Council Bill 2510-61. First reading, adopt an ordinance levying the regular property taxes for the city of Everett for a fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2026 on all taxable property, both real and personal, subject to taxation thereon. Third and final reading, 11/19/25, and I will now open the public hearing for item number 11 also. So I believe we have a presentation that will cover items both 10 and 11.
Great. Good evening, City Council. Heidi Berlantes, Jamie Lee Graves, and E. Lou from Finance. Our first briefing tonight presents the 2026 property tax ordinances for the city's regular and emergency medical services or EMS property tax levies. The estimated 26 regular property tax levy is $42.4 million, and the EMS property tax levy is $10.4 million, plus additional amounts from new construction, annexation, state assessed utilities, and refund levies. Both ordinances include a 1% increase from the 2025 tax year. As a reminder, when Everett property owners pay their property taxes, not all of that money goes to the city. In fact, Everett only receives a portion of that. Here's a breakdown of how each dollar of property tax paid by an average residential property owner is allocated. In 2025, 69 cents of every dollar supports the school system, 6 cents goes to Snohomish County, 2 cents to the Regional Transit Authority, and another 2 cents to the Port of Everett. The City of Everett's EMS fund, a non-general government fund, receives 4 cents of every property tax dollar. And lastly, 17 cents directly benefits the City of Everett, which funds the crucial services that significantly impact the community's quality of life. This chart illustrates the impact of inflation and the 1% limit on property taxes. This starts from 2001, when the 1% limit was enacted, extending to 2025. The Consumer Price Index is what is used to measure the inflation on this chart. The blue column shows $1 in 2001 as the base year, and this is deflated over the years by the difference between CPI and the 1% property tax growth limit. By 25, the value of that dollar in terms of how much we can purchase with it declines to only 52 cents. So for every dollar in property tax that we had in 2001 to fund services, we can now only pay for about 50 cents or 52 cents of that. These two charts compare Everett with other cities in Snohomish County with populations greater than 10,000. Everett being the county seat and the largest city in population and geographic area served, has a population of 114,700 and covers 33.6 square miles, which is 3 times higher than the average of this group. As a full-service city, Everett has significantly more people and ground to cover, both of which require adequate funding. This slide compares Everett's property tax rates for general city, fire EMS, and library services with other cities in Snohomish County with populations greater than 10,000. Being a full-service city makes it difficult to compare the city of Everett with other cities that have already divested responsibility for one or more of these core services. Because Everett is the only full-service city in this group, it is necessary to combine separate levy rates for a reasonable comparison. At $1.88, Everett's core services levy rate is on the lower end of this group, with $2.27 being the average levy rate.
This graph provides a city-to-city comparison of how much the average value homeowner pays in property tax annually for general city, fire, EMS, and library services.
A $70.39 flat annual fire benefit charge is added where applicable. The average home values are identified in the Snohomish County Assessor's 2025 annual report. As you can see, there is a fair amount of variability among cities. However, what is most notable here is that the amount paid by Everett property owners is the lowest of the group at $1,008 in 2025. This graph shows the value of construction added to the city's assessed value between 2009 and 2025 and the 2026 estimate. The amount the city receives in property tax from new construction is directly tied to construction activity and the value of that new construction. Although there is much variability in construction, we do incorporate estimates in the 6-year forecast based on information we receive from planning and permit services. We also receive estimates from the Snohomish County Assessor's Office to aid in the development of the property tax ordinances. In 2026, the value of new construction is estimated at $187 million. Refund levies are restorations of levy amounts the city was shorted in prior years due to refunds and exemptions that were submitted after the levy was finalized by the assessor. They do not represent increases in property tax revenues. This graph shows a history of refund levies between 2009 and 2025 and the 2026 estimate as provided by the Snohomish County Assessor's Office. Refund levy amounts vary greatly and no discernible trend is present. We have had years with no refund levies and years with levies greater than $500,000. Therefore, we do not incorporate assumptions for future refund levies in the 6-year forecast beyond the upcoming year in which we receive information from the Snohomish County Assessor's Office. Now we'll take a look at what this means for the owner of an average residential property in Everett. The average property value in 2025 for a typical residence, according to Snohomish County Assessor's Report, is $537,200. Applying the city's average assessed value increase for 2025 taxes of 4.96%, the value of this property grows from $537,200 in 2025 to $563,848 for 2026. Because the assessed value is growing at a rate greater than the growth in property tax revenue, the combined regular and EMS levy rate is reduced from $1.88 in 2025 to $1.83 in 2026. The net result is that even though the property owner's assessed value rises by 4.96%, the 2026 tax bill for the regular and EMS levies only increases by $24.20. Or roughly 2.4% over what was paid in 2025. New construction and the refund levy are why the levy amount is greater than 1%. This concludes our presentation on the property tax ordinances. We'd now open it up for questions.
So at this time, do we have any questions for item 10 and 11 in the presentation? Councilmember Bader.
One quick clarification, and I don't know which slide it is because I think the mayor ran off with my copy of your presentation. So on the core service slide, several slides before. Yeah, keep going. Oops, let's see, sorry. Keep going. One more.
That one.
That one. So are you saying in this slide, we are not actually comparing another city in other cities in Snohomish County? We haven't added in their fire services or library services levy, or we have added those in to those ones?
The 4 bulleted points were added into the other cities to
Very good.
compare
Okay.
ourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I had a question on that too. We didn't cover transit, right? We didn't cover the transit service in this particular graph.
No, that's not funded by property tax,
Yeah,
but sales tax.
But I do want to make the point that transit costs more outside the city limits in Everett and most of the county. So, thank you. Questions? Okay, yeah, thank you, Councilmember Bowlby.
And I will just say that 52 cents to the dollar that it used to be, holy moly, everybody, that's all. 52 cents.
Okay,
used to be
we're
a dollar.
talking about slide number 3.
Yeah, the one after the dollar bill where we only get 17 cents
Mhm.
to the dollar.
Thank you.
And we can only spend 52 and not really a dollar.
Well, and I agree with you. I think comparison to other cities is we have conversations with our constituents that it is significantly a good value And we'd still provide great services here in the city at a lower cost. Councilmember Zarlingo, you had a question?
Yeah, one question about the property tax comparison slide. Let's see, next there. Edmonds, I believe, passed a joining of to the RFA. Does this include then their, because I think it was a,
No, this is for the 2025 tax year. So because those votes happened this year, they won't be in effect until 26.
okay, and if I remember right, that was about $65 a month for the average resident, similar to the levy lid lift that they put on the ballot that has not at least passed apparently.
I do remember reading up on it. I just can't recall what their actual increase was.
Yeah, the numbers I heard were about $65 each for per month for each of those two things, but I wanted to understand how this compared. Okay, thank you.
Any questions about item 10 or 11 of the presentation? Okay, thank you very much. Good work. The public hearings for both these items will be open until we'll make a motion to close them on the 19th. Okay, so now I'll go to
President
item-
Schwab.
Yes, ma'am.
What about if we have public comment for public hearing?
Oh, do we?
I haven't received any documents or sign up forms, but I just wanted to make sure you offered that.
Okay. Is there anyone here in room or online that would like to make a public comment? Okay. I think we're only counting like 3 out there. All right. Okay, let's go move on to item number 12, Council Bill 2510-60. First reading, adopt an ordinance appropriating the budget for the city of Everett for the year 2026 in the amount of $943,826,973. Third and final reading is 11/19/25, and I will now open the public hearing for item number 12. And I believe we do have a presentation.
All right, we'll try to get through this quickly. Tonight marks the first budget hearing for the 2026 proposed operating budget. We'll begin by providing an overview of citywide budgeted revenues and expenditures. Then we'll dive into the key highlights of the 26 general government and non-general government expenditure changes, presenting them fund by fund. As we go through each fund, we'll take a brief pause to answer any questions you might have before we continue. We also have several of our department directors here tonight. The 26 proposed budget is the result of extensive collaboration. Over the past few months, we've met with you council members to discuss policies, budget priorities, reserves, the revenue forecast, and the proposed budget balancing measures. Those discussions and insights have been crucial in shaping the budget that we are presenting this evening. As in previous years, we're presenting the difference between the 25 original budget and the 26 proposed. We use the original budget as our baseline rather than the amended version because the amended budget often includes significant reappropriations, which can distort the year-over-year comparison. These adjustments sometimes make it harder to clearly identify the true changes in spending and revenue. Please note that many of these changes you see tonight have been previously approved by City Council. The citywide revenue budget includes both general government and non-general government funds, and they're classified under 6 major categories. I'll walk briefly through each of the revenue categories and the percentage they represent of the total citywide revenue budget. First on the left, we have fines and penalties. This makes up less than 1% of citywide revenues. This category includes revenues from traffic and non-traffic infractions, parking fees, penalty assessments, and code violations. Charges for goods and services make up 37% of citywide revenues. This category would include fees the city charges for various services. This includes utilities, transit fees, golf green fees, plan check fees, as well as internal cost allocations when one department or fund is charging another for services rendered. Taxes make up 30% of citywide revenues. They represent a crucial portion of our revenue, and this encompasses our property tax, sales and use, business and occupation, and other taxes. And this is a broad category that supports many of the city's essential services. Moving to the right, we have licenses and permits. This makes up less than 1% of citywide revenues. Here you'll find business licenses, cable franchise fees, construction and development permits, as well as other various permits. Miscellaneous revenues, including other financing sources, make up 27% of citywide revenues in '26. This category includes our interest earnings, rents and leases, donations, operating transfers, payment in lieu of taxes, bond proceeds, and capital contributions. Lastly, we have intergovernmental revenues. This makes up 5% of citywide revenues. This includes grants that we receive from local, state, and federal agencies, state shared revenues and entitlements, our ground emergency medical transport reimbursements, and the Medicare D subsidy. The '26 proposed citywide revenue budget for both general government and non-general government funds is $574 million. The bar chart breaks down the total revenue by category, with the revenue split between general government and non-general government. As a reminder, our general government budget funds core city services such as police, fire, parks, and the library. Taxes are its primary revenue source. Conversely, non-general government funds, including our water and sewer utilities, Everett Transit, and our golf courses, are funded primarily through rates, fees, grants, and restricted tax sources. These non-general government funds are considered more like independent businesses, and its revenue cannot be used to subsidize general government operations. On a citywide basis, charges for goods and services is the largest revenue category at $211.7 million. Water, sewer, and solid waste utilities account for $141 million, or 66% of this category. Taxes is the second largest revenue category on a citywide basis, but the largest for the general government, accounting for 69% of its revenues. Miscellaneous revenues make up the third largest category, and this is a significant portion. For '26, it includes a planned $95 million water and sewer bond issuance, which will fund critical capital projects.
2026 proposed citywide expenditure budget have been shaped by 5 key priorities. These priorities reflect the core goals and values that guide our budgeting process and are essential in ensuring the city continues to meet the needs of our residents. The 5 key priorities are housing, transportation and infrastructure, safe community, responsive and responsible government, economic workforce and cultural vitality, and engaged and informed community. The budget document is more than just a financial statement. It's a tool for transparency and accountability in how public dollars are allocated. It's about clearly showing how the city invests in its residents, services, and future. To make this clearer, the budget highlights how each department's work aligns with the city's broader priorities. This emphasizes the interconnectedness of city operations and how they all contribute to the broader goals we're aiming to achieve. The slide lists the departments under their largest priority category. Each department's activities are aligned with one or more of these priorities, ensuring that our resources are focused where they will have the most meaningful impact. For example, the water, sewer, and solid waste utilities fall under the housing, transportation, and infrastructure priority, while our municipal court, legal, police, fire, and emergency medical services departments are aligned with the safe community priority. The 2026 proposed citywide expenditure budget totals $612.7 million. This slide represents how that budget is distributed across the city's 5 key priorities. As with the revenue breakdown, the expenditures are categorized into general government depicted in blue and non-general government depicted in peach. Housing, transportation, and infrastructure priority accounts for most of the city's total expenditures at $324.2 million. Included in this category is a regional water and sewer utility, which serves over 600,000 people for water services and 160,000 people for sewer services, far exceeding Everett's population. This makes infrastructure and utility services a critical area of investment, as they serve not just a city but a larger regional population. The second largest priority, safe community, totals $140.8 million. This priority encompasses funding for municipal court, legal, law enforcement, fire services, emergency medical services, and other safety-related programs. However, when we look at general government expenditures alone, the safe community priority rises to the top, accounting for $104 million or 59% of the total general government budget. The responsive and responsible priority is third at $85 million and includes resources for the administrative functions of the city, including governance, public accountability, and fiscal responsibility. This area also covers investments in technology, transparency, and services that directly support the day-to-day functions of city operations. The economic, workforce, and cultural vitality priority at $53.9 million supports programs aimed at promoting economic development and the cultural and recreational vibrancy of Everett. Investments here help attract businesses, create job opportunities, and support the arts, culture, and community events. Lastly, at $8.8 million, the Engaged and Informed Community includes investments in public outreach and community engagement, ensuring that residents have access to city information and resources. Before we dive into each fund, we'd like to first start with how the general government expenditures are funded. The 2026 proposed general government revenue is $176.7 million. The pie shows the proportionate share of all general government revenues with individual taxes broken out in the bar to the right. As you can see, there are a variety of revenues that support the city's core public services. However, taxes are by far the largest source. Within the taxes category, the biggest contributors are property tax, sales tax, B&O tax, and utility taxes, such as those paid for telephone, cable, and garbage. We begin expenditure highlights with City Council Department 1. The proposed 2026 City Council budget is $700,121. A new change proposed for 2026 restores council's M&O contingency budget from $50,000 to $75,000. The 2026 proposed expenditure budget for Legal Department 3 is $6,264,974. A legal administrator was added and previously approved by council through Budget Amendment Number 3 as part of succession planning and to support the Indigent Defense Program. The 2026 proposed expenditure budget for Administration Department 4 is $1,723,525. There is an FTE reduction to the Executive Project Coordinator position from 0.9 to 0.8. This budget also proposes to restore administration's M&O contingency budget to $25,000. The 2026 proposed expenditure budget for Municipal Court Department 5 is $3,251,863. The staffing addition of one court commissioner happened this year through Budget Amendment Number 1. This position was added due to the implementation of the photo enforcement cameras. For 2026, we're proposing an increase in FTE for 2 municipal court security officers from 0.65 to 1.0 FTE. This adjustment reflects a growing number of individuals visiting the court. Expanding to 2 full-time positions will ensure adequate screening and in-court security presence while also resolving coverage issues.
Thanks. Just for municipal court, I saw in the accomplishments some really great work around translation services and interpreter services. So I was hoping from administration to get some more information on what those programs are. I can possibly apply them in other areas of my career.
Thank you, Councilmember Ryan. I was deep in thought here reading Heidi, you said you're going to have some breaks for questions at some point, or we just jump in here?
Yeah, I'm just kind of gauging.
Okay.
the contact.
There was eye contact. Yeah.
All right. So just keep flying until, council, please just ask questions as needed. Thank you.
The proposed budget for Human Resources Department 7 is $2,221,979. For 2026, a one-time budget amendment is proposed, reallocating funds from M&O to labor to cover seasonal pay for planned absence coverage. The proposed budget for non-departmental 009 is $29.7 million, a net increase of $1.7 million compared to 2025. Changes include a $97,000 increase in fees paid to Snohomish County 911 for emergency dispatching, police records management system, and the countywide emergency radio system. A $156,490 increase to the Left to Retirement Plan contribution. A $102,004 increase to general government utilities. Contributions to the Motor Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Reserve Fund 126 increased by $260,224. This fund supports general government vehicles and equipment replacements. There is a $493,436 net increase in the general government's contribution to the self-insurance funds to cover rising costs associated with property insurance, tort claims, and workers' compensation claims. Contributions to Property Management Fund 146 increased by $80,858. This fund is used for maintenance and repair projects to the city's general government buildings other than parks. A $3.1 million increase to the labor contingency budget. This is primarily due to police and fire's collective bargaining agreements that are still under negotiations. Next year, when all contracts are settled, we will distribute the contingency to police and fire's operating funds in Budget Amendment Number 1. Non-general government funds set aside their own contract settlement contingencies.
Question about the Left to Retirement Plan contributions. Did the rate go up?
Yes, the rate did go up slightly, effective July 1st of 2025. So this reflects, it's really a GASB or Governmental Accounting Standards Board reporting entry related to pensions. So anytime there is a rate fluctuation, then we would need to increase this, but the state files on the city's behalf. It's really a more of
So
a reporting
did the
entry.
contribution rate to the state go up? Like
Yes.
how much?
It went from 5.12 to 5.32.
Thank you.
I have a
Oh, I'm sorry.
quick,
Question-
I
Councilman
have
Cooey,
a
thank you.
question, I think, for Chief DeMarco. So on Snow 911, I thought we passed that we weren't going to increase the fees for 2026.
We did, and we've informed finance of that, but they've had to produce a budget before Snow 911 made that decision. So my understanding is that that will come to you in a budget amendment later in the
Okay,
year.
all right, great, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Councilman Ryan.
Thanks. Couple questions probably for email follow-up later. I'm curious how, for jail services, how the rates have gone up over time, maybe over the last 5 years, and then how that's impacted our total budget allocation over the last 5 years as well. And then under there's the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency dues, but the description mentions that it's actually, the dues actually get, gosh, I'm tired. The dues pay off in the long run, have a good rate of return because they attract more businesses here. So I was curious how we're advertising that or letting folks know that we're a clean air space, that they should do business here. I think that could be helpful. And then under budgeted expenditures, I see a big jump for the annual financial audit for over the last few years. So if you could remind me, who does the who does the audit and who sets the fee for that?
Sure. Yes, the Office of the Washington State Auditors does our annual audit. And it's 3 really, financial, federal grant, and accountability. Sometimes it can even go above what they quote us, but we do, every time we finalize an audit, they do provide us with an estimate. So that is what we use for budgetary purposes.
So have they increased their rates then?
Yeah, they tend to. So local teams at the state auditor's office, they are not part of the Washington state budget. So they're purely billable. So they get their resources from like local governments that they audit.
Okay. So they require the audit and then they get to set their own fee for the
Yeah,
required
cover
audit?
their cost. Yeah.
Okay, just thanks.
As far as jail fees, year over year, we've seen an increase of 3%. Any increase beyond the 3% that you see year over year in the dollar amount has to do more with the number of stays or the number of, inmates. So.
All right, thank you. Where are we at? Number 9? Okay.
The next is a $16,000 transfer of dues for Alliance for Housing Affordability to Community Development Department 21. There is a $133,549 net reduction in contributions to IT maintenance contracts, computer and IT infrastructure replacements. A $54,556 reduction in contributions to the Telecommunications Fund 507. A $10,000 reduction in dues to the Office of Minority and Women's Business Enterprises. This is assessed biennially in accordance with the Washington Administrative Code. There is a $2,501,940 reduction in the contribution to the Capital Improvement Reserve Fund, CIP1, due to higher contributions in 2025. Over the 2 years, contributions averaged $3 million annually, consistent with the forecast. As a reminder, this reserve supports major repairs, renovations, and replacements of existing general government structures. The proposed budget for Finance Department 10 is $4,167,925. This year, 2 positions were reclassified to reflect updated work assignments. There is also a reduction in overtime pay. The proposed budget for Information Technology Department 15 is $4,686,585. The IT department underwent a few position reclassifications this year to better align its staffing structure with operational needs. For the 2026 budget, we are proposing the addition of 1 accounting technician to restore essential financial support lost with the elimination of the administrative coordinator position. This role will strengthen the department's financial management by ensuring accurate budget tracking, improving efficiency, and allowing technical staff to focus on their core operational responsibilities. In addition, the department proposed a reduction in overtime pay and an increase in seasonal pay. Budget for Communications and Engagement, Department 18 is $866,595. The Communications Director is being restored from 0.9 to 1 FTE. There's also a $6,000 reduction in seasonal pay. The proposed budget for Community Planning and Economic Development, Department 21, is $5,404,666. The Community Development Division received congressional funding through SAMHSA in 2024 to create an innovative alternative response system. Over the past decade, community support staff have been embedded within the police department and more recently the fire department. To better reflect their evolving role, comply with SAMHSA requirements, and advance the City of Everett's crisis care continuum, the department proposes organizational adjustments. These include reducing 2 community support specialists / social worker positions in fire, 2 in police, 1 in library, 1 community outreach specialist in library, and 1 case management coordinator. Additions include 5 community support crisis responders, 1 community support prevention specialist, and 1 community support care specialist. The reduction of 7 FTEs and addition of 7 FTEs result in no net change in total staffing for this program.
Yeah, question, just a clarification. So we have 31 full-time employees in this division?
Within community planning and economic development.
Okay.
If you wanted to know, the personnel table also breaks it out by the individual departments in the budget book.
Okay, in the budget book, yeah, thank you. Councilmember Sarlingo.
I'm just trying to understand a little better, kind of characterize the changes. The people are the same, or the number of people are the same. Titles are changing. I haven't dug into that much, but can you Can you give me a summary characterization of that, especially with respect to the trend toward crisis responders?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can read this. That better explains it. So it is better to create new positions rather than reclass existing ones to ensure compliance with SAMHSA grant requirements. SAMHSA funds cannot supplant existing roles or programs. They must support new services. So establishing new positions and job descriptions clearly defines a new program and care team, ensuring the grant funds are used as intended and remain separate from previous program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, There is a transfer of one FTE Special Projects Manager from Planning to Community Development. This transfer supports a newly added housing activity within Community Development. Along with this, there is a $6,300 transfer for M&O to fund that activity. Additionally, the budget includes a $18,793 increase for dues to the Alliance for Housing Affordability. And finally, there is a $10,000 reduction in the uniform budget. Next is the Planning Division, which underwent position reclassifications during the 2025 mid-year cycle to align its staffing structure with departmental needs. For 2026, the Special Projects Manager, currently housed in Planning, will move to Community Development's newly added housing activity to spearhead this work. This change better aligns resources with efforts to expand affordable housing, preserve existing homes, and promote stability for all residents, including unhoused neighbors. Along with staffing, we're also proposing to transfer $6,300 of M&O to Community Development's housing activity. Last for this department is Economic Development. The Economic Development Director is being restored to full-time, increasing from 0.8 to 1 FTE. The proposed budget for Engineering and Public Services, Department 24, is $10,245,706. A building inspector position previously approved by council through Budget Amendment Number 1 was added to address the increased workload in permit services. The department also reflects a reduction of one engineering technician position and several position reclassifications to better align staffing with operational needs. For the 2026 budget, we are proposing to increase the Traffic Operations Supervisor from 0.5 FTE to 1 FTE to support succession planning. Looking ahead to 2027, a reduction of 1 FTE Traffic Operations Supervisor position is projected as a result of an upcoming retirement. The budget also includes a reduction in differential and seasonal pay, along with an increase to the uniform allowance for code enforcement officers. Lastly, there is a $635,254 decrease in the M&O budget since the 2025 one-time increase for the Safe Streets for All and Highway Safety Improvement Program grant projects were temporary.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry, go ahead.
Yep. And then I wasn't keeping up in my budget binders. Actually, I have some questions about Department 21 as well. But for Engineering and Public Services, I was excited to see that, and I've also been excited to experience the leading pedestrian intervals in the city. So I think for our Parks and Built Environment Committee, I know it's been part of their work plan. And so just having an update on that of where they are and which ones are maybe coming down the pike, I think would be just helpful to know, and a good committee work for us to do. For Department 21, if we don't mind skipping back, please. Under tourism for the work plan, I was curious why FIFA isn't listed on work goals for 2026.
And this is going to be more of a broad response. My apologies. At this time, there really isn't a complete awareness of how much revenues are going to be brought into the city and what the city's overall expenses are. But it will most certainly be reported in a budget amendment next year when there's more information.
Great. Good. And just to mention that I'd love to see continuing to pursue the creative district as part of their work plan as well. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
The proposed budget for Animal Services Department 026 is $2,565,109. There are several budget changes intended to better reflect administrative support and management oversight. For Animal Services, there's a transfer of 0.15 FTE Assistant Parks and Recreation Director and a 0.10 FTE of the Parks and Recreation Director. These were previously within Parks and Community Services Fund 101. We also see a $73,840 increase to seasonal pay. The proposed expenditure budget for Emergency Management Department 030 is $397,528. The Emergency Management Director is being restored to full-time, increasing from 0.8 to 1 FTE. We also show an increase of $16,211 for seasonal pay. The proposed expenditure budget for Police Department 31 is $51.8 million. Through budget amendment number 1 of 2025, council approved the reinstatement of 2 FTE parking enforcement officer positions. These were initially assumed to participate in the voluntary separation incentive program last year, but ultimately did not. In 25, 1 police crime analyst position was reclassified to a senior crime analyst. In 26, the proposed budget includes increasing the deputy police chief position from 0.5 FTE to 1 FTE. This was a temporary reduction, which was initially implemented with the intention of filling the position mid-2025 to capture some savings. The budget also reflects a cumulative increase of $199,141 across overtime, differential, other pay, and uniform cost. There's an elimination of a one-time $72,500 labor budget allocation for the lateral incentive program. Additionally, $1,000 in M&O funding is being transferred to Engineering and Public Services Department for code enforcement costs that were previously budgeted within this department.
I just want to say that I appreciate the different color blue and the in parentheses already approved by council bit. Because I'm not sure if this is the first time, but it might be. So I appreciate that that is on there. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
And I've seen it multiple times, like this isn't, so thank you.
Thank you. All right.
The proposed budget for Fire Department 32 is $28 million. 25 mid-year changes included several reclassifications and allocation adjustments between the Fire Department and the Emergency Medical Services Fund 153. This was done to better reflect the actual distribution of resources. It is common for FTE transfers to occur between fire and EMS as staffing is shared and adjusted based on workload demands across the 2 funds. For 26, the proposed budget includes a transfer of 0.3 FTE for the Assistant Fire Chief to EMS 153, based on a review of where this position is spending time and effort. It also reflects a cumulative increase of $174,114 for overtime, differential, other pay, and uniform cost. We see a one-time increase of $25,230 in the M&O budget, and this is used to support live fire training, essential for maintaining the ongoing comprehensive and effective training that ensures fire safety and operational success. The proposed budget for Facilities and Property Management Department 38 is $4,545,784. As noted earlier, to better reflect administrative support, the proposed budget includes the transfer of 0.3 FTE Parks and Recreation Director from the Parks and Community Services Fund. Facilities is also proposing an $8,479 reduction in differential pay and a $35,000 transfer of M&O to the Parks and Community Services Fund 101. The proposed budget for Parks and Community Services Fund 101 is $7,039,702. 25 mid-year changes included one reclassification of a landscaper to a groundskeeper to better reflect duties. The 26 proposed budget includes several staffing adjustments designed to streamline operations and enhance the sharing of administrative resources across work groups. We propose transferring a portion of management and administrative staff to other funds that they support. This includes Animal Services, Department 026, Facilities and Property Management, Department 038, Golf Fund 440, and Motor Vehicle Fund 501. And you will also see these transfers again when we review the non-general government funds. In addition, what was transferred out of Facilities and Property Management, that $35,000 will be transferred into Parks and Community Services Fund 101. We also are accounting for an increase, a cumulative increase of $65,347 in overtime and seasonal pay to support workload demands and program needs across the department. The proposed budget for Library Fund 110 is $5,186,037. 26 staffing changes for the library include the addition of 1 circulation assistant 2 and 0.5 FTE librarian 1, along with the reclassification of 2 librarian 2 positions to a library manager librarian 3. There's also a cumulative decrease of $59,290 in differential and seasonal pay. The department's M&O budget is proposed to increase by $5,794, and this is to cover city mail allocations and the rental cost at Everett Station. The proposed budget for Municipal Arts Fund 112 is $755,458. The first proposed budget change restores the $40,000 cultural arts grant program that was suspended for this year. Municipal Arts is also proposed to receive a $6,759 increase in M&O, and this is based on the provisions in the Everett Performing Arts Center management contract.
Councilmember.
I would like to correct myself on the record, and everybody needs to make a note of this because that never
Okay.
happens.
All right, noted.
The work plan for under this fund includes FIFA and the Creative District. So wanted to just shout that out. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Councilmember Zalingo.
Just to go back one slide that you mentioned a rental at Everett Station for the library.
Yes.
Can you tell me what that is?
Sure. Yes, that's where the library board has their meetings at this time. And since it's a different type of fund.
I should have asked Councilmember Bader. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
The proposed budget for the Conference Center Fund 114 is $368,933. This fund pays for the debt service on the Edward D. Hanson Conference Center, utilities, capital improvements, and repairs to that building. The fund receives lease revenue from 2 long-term leases at the facility, and CIP2 will pay for the debt service. Per the debt schedule, the debt service is reduced by $28,060. And it is nice to say that this debt will mature by the end of 26. The proposed budget for the Street Improvements Fund 119 is $3,170,268. This fund supports street overlay and arterial street projects. Street overlay projects are supported by car tab revenues, a $300 allocation from CIP3, and property tax. Although in 26, we are suspending the property tax contribution, the budget retains just over the noted $3 million for street improvements. Arterial street projects are funded by state shared revenues, such as the motor vehicle fuel tax and multimodal transportation tax. Arterial street expenditures will increase by $4,131. That's really related to an increase to the state shared revenue. And street overlay expenditures will increase by $80,795.
Councilmember Zalingo.
The gas tax, does that also include those essentially gas taxes in lieu for electric cars in lieu of actually, that wouldn't be gas tax. I guess that'd be a registration tax. Let me quit that for now. I'll form a better
Okay.
question later.
No comment on the electric car thing, gas.
Okay. That brings us to streets. This wraps up the general government funds. The proposed budget for Fund 120 is $3,521,811. There's a $3,518 cumulative increase to overtime pay and the uniform budget. We also see a $91,935 increase to the cost allocation budget for record support, computer switchboard, payroll support, city work services, and public information and educational services. All right.
Moving on to the non-general government expenditure changes. We'd like to begin by discussing how non-general government expenditures are funded. For 2026, the proposed non-general government revenues total $397 million. The chart breaks down the proportionate share of these revenues across 7 categories. The largest revenue category is charges for goods and services, which makes up 51% of total non-general government revenues. This category includes fees the city charges for a wide range of services such as utilities, transit fares, golf green fees, plan check fees, ambulance, and internal cost allocations, where one department charges another for services rendered. The second largest category is other financing sources, which accounts for 27% of total revenues. This includes sources such as bond proceeds, operating transfers, and capital contributions, important revenue streams for supporting capital projects. Next, we have tax revenues, which makes up 12% of revenues. This includes various taxes such as sales and use taxes, the emergency medical services property tax levy, car tab fees, and admissions tax. Intergovernmental revenues make up 5%, and these include grants received from local, state, and federal governments, as well as ground emergency medical transport reimbursements. Miscellaneous revenues make up 3%, and this category includes things like interest earnings, rents and leases, donations, and private contributions, surplus proceeds, as well as custodial activities related to pensions. Licenses and permits contribute 1% of total revenues, including fees collected for development and construction permits. Finally, fines and penalties also make up 1%. This category includes civil infraction penalties. These categories together fund the non-general government expenditures. The 2026 expenditure budget for the Emergency Medical Services Fund 153 is proposed at $21,415,423. As mentioned earlier, FTE transfers between the Fire Department 032 and EMS Fund 153 are common since staffing is shared and adjusted based on workload. The first 3 bullet points reflect these allocations and transfers. 0.3 FTE of the Fire Division Chief and 0.3 FTE of the Communications and Marketing Manager are allocated to EMS Fund 153, with the remainder staying in Fire. Additionally, 0.3 FTE of an Assistant Fire Chief is being transferred back into Fire based on where time and effort are spent. We are also proposing a reclassification of an Administrative Assistant to Administrative Coordinator, along with a cumulative increase of $146,779 for overtime, other pay, and differential pay to reflect workload demands.
Yeah, I have a question about, on the revenue side, I know this expenditure, what is our EMS levy rate for next year? We know it offhand?
It's 0.37.
37 cents? Thank you.
The proposed budget for Community Housing Improvement Program Fund 197 is $1,101,641. There is a $3,000 increase to the uniform budget proposed for 2026. The proposed budget for the Water and Sewer Utility Fund 401 is proposed at $242 million. In 2025, staffing additions include 1 FTE water quality analyst and 1 industrial waste inspector to meet new NPDES and nutrients general permit requirements, both approved in Budget Amendment Number 1. The Utilities Maintenance Technician 1 position is proposed to increase from 0.5 to 1 FTE to strengthen operational support. Additionally, several positions are being reclassified to reflect changes in work assignments, ensuring staffing levels and roles align with the evolving needs of the utility. For 2026, staffing changes proposed include the addition of 1 water quality technician to meet growing nutrient and NPDES monitoring demands and to expand cross-training within the environmental lab. Since 2020, nutrient analysis have increased by 27% following implementation of the nutrient general permit. The next addition is for 1 project coordinator who will develop and deliver employee training to ensure compliance with state and federal regulations, enhance safety, and improve workforce proficiency. This role will centralize responsibilities currently divided among staff and consultants, improving consistency and efficiency. There's also a cumulative decrease of $261,345 for differential pay and uniform budgets. The most significant change in this budget is the $95 million transfer to the Utilities Construction Fund. This transfer is tied to the water and sewer revenue bond issue planned for 2026, which will help fund sewer and stormwater utility infrastructure projects, including Port Gardner Storage Facility, PGSF West Marine View Drive Combined Conveyance Improvements, 36th Street Combined Sewer Outflow Control, and Water Pollution Control Facility Headworks Replacement. The 2026 expenditure budget for the Solid Waste Utility Fund 402 is proposed at $1,675,013. There has been a reclassification of positions to better reflect changes in work assignments. This adjustment ensures that the staffing structure is aligned with current operational needs and responsibilities within the solid waste utility.
The proposed budget for Everett Transit 425 is proposed at $46,725,591. In late 24, Everett Transit's director of 18 years retired, followed shortly by the departure of another long-serving senior leader. With new leadership in place, the incoming transit director initiated a staff restructuring to better align the department with the community's evolving transportation priorities. And this resulted in several reclasses and staffing changes. The 26 proposed budget includes 2 FTE additions. The first is a security officer to ensure the safety of staff and riders across the transit system. Second is an administrative coordinator to improve operational efficiency and support department-wide administrative functions. There's a transfer of 0.5 FTE office assistant to the Motor Vehicle Fund 501 and a 0.5 FTE allocation of the Fleet Maintenance Supervisor to Fund 501 to better reflect operational responsibilities. The budget also includes a cumulative reduction of $20,904 in differential pay and uniform expenses. The proposed budget for Golf Fund 440 is proposed at $6,358,779. The first staffing change is the addition of 4 maintenance technicians in lieu of 4 9-month day labor positions. This will allow golf to have these positions year-round as opposed to only 9 months out of the year. The next bullet point is the 0.5 FTE allocation of the Fleet Maintenance Supervisor to motor vehicles. And then the next 5 bullet points reflect transfers from Parks and Community Services Fund 101. This includes 0.3 FTE Administrative Coordinator, 0.5 FTE of a Financial Analyst, 0.10 FTE of the Assistant Parks and Recreation Director, 0.10 FTE of a Parks and Recreation Director, and 0.2 FTE for the Parks and Golf Manager. And these adjustments are really meant to reflect the administrative sources that are shared across the teams. Additionally, one golf course supervisor is being reclassed to a maintenance technician, and there's a cumulative reduction of $137,637 in overtime and seasonal pay. The proposed budget for the Motor Vehicles Fund 501 is proposed at $9,295,713. First proposed staffing change is the creation of one FTE office specialist. This is formed by consolidating and reclassifying the existing 0.5 FTE office assistant, as well as the transfer of an additional 0.5 FTE from Everett Transit Fund 425. The next bullet point assigns 0.5 FTE each from Everett Transit Fund 425 and Golf Fund 440 to the Fleet Maintenance Supervisor position. Motor Vehicle Fund 501 will serve as the home department for the Fleet Maintenance Supervisor. However, Everett Transit and Golf will continue to fund their respective shares of the position's cost. Next, the budget includes a 0.2 FTE transfer of a financial analyst and a 0.10 FTE transfer for the Parks and Recreation Director, both from Fund 101. And lastly, we see a cumulative reduction of $8,278 in differential pay and uniform expenses. So this concludes that presentation. We'll open it up for any remaining questions.
Councilmember Ryan.
I guess just wanted a general comment and maybe, and let me know if I'm on the right track here. With the number of these FTEs and portions of FTEs being spread out among many different departments and having a lot of different responsibilities and varying workloads, to me that is emblematic of how short-staffed we are at the city, that we have individuals doing work and being spread thin across different departments to help try and cover so many different bases. So am I reading that correctly, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, it's really these management and administrative functions have always been shared among these funds. So we feel that the way it's portrayed in the 26 proposed budget is a true reflection of where their time is spent.
Great. I also wanted to thank our staff, our award-winning staff, for their hard work on our budget. I know this is a huge lift all year long, and I just want to thank you guys for your exemplary work. Thank you.
Councilmember Tui.
Yeah, thank you guys for all this work. I just wanted to follow up. I had already asked Jennifer to follow up on jail fees and the number of inmates, kind of a little history on that. And then if we have time, if we could get a review on the red light cameras, because I see we're adding another person for that. So I know they haven't been up and running for that many months. So hoping to get kind of see where we're at on the number of tickets and workload.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah, in addition to, we do have jail fee information, so we can send that via email. And alongside, we also just want to know that it is important for us to ensure that the photo enforcement program remain revenue neutral, and that is what you'll be seeing in the 26 proposed budget.
Great, thank you.
Councilmember Ryan.
Sorry, one more. If we could also just get a reminder of what our timeline is for budget approval over the next few weeks, I think
Question.
like month or whatever it is, that'd be great.
A few weeks is right. So it's scheduled for the two public hearings following tonight, so the 12th and the 19th. And our anticipation is that you could take action at that third reading on the 19th.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to thank thank you guys for the presentation, and thank you for the staff for staying up late with us. You didn't bring popcorn, but thanks for being here anyway. And that will conclude the presentation, my understanding. Okay, and that is for that is now our briefing and open hearing for 10, 11, and 12. And so the public hearing is, I guess I better ask the question, Angie, is there anyone here from the public that'd like to speak on item number 12? Okay, hearing none, the hearing will be open until the 19th. Okay, we'll move on to our proposed action item. We'll start with item number 13, second reading, Council Bill 2510-58. Are there any questions from council? Okay, final reading will be on the 12th. Move on to item number 14, Council Bill 2510-62. First reading, adopt an ordinance relating to business and occupational tax, adopting the new revisions of the model B&O tax ordinance, incorporating Senate Bill 5814 changes relating to retail sales and amending EMC Everett Municipal Code 3.24.030. The final reading is November 19, 2025. So after reading the record, does council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Bader.
Thanks, Council President. Real quick, this amendment is just to reflect what was done at the state level. So we're implementing what we need to implement. Correct. Thanks.
Okay. Right, seeing no questions?
We'll real quick acknowledge that staff was shaking their head. Yes.
Okay, all right, for the record, yeah, because they're not on cam. Well, they are a little bit. Okay, so let's move to our action items. Item number 15, Council Bill 2510-56, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance creating a special improvement project entitled City of Everett Police Boathouse Project Fund 342, Program 054 to accumulate all design costs. We have a
So
motion.
moved.
Seconded.
Motion and seconds been made. Does council have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, move on to action item number 16, Council Bill 2510-57, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance creating a special improvement project entitled Cedar Hall and Recreational Building Demolition, Fund 342, Program 055 to accumulate all costs for the project. Do I have a motion?
Councilmember Ryan, so moves.
Second the motion.
Motion and seconds made. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Ryan.
Thanks. Just a comment that this item and this vote has a lot of grief that comes with it for me. Tearing down Cedar because of the fire is obviously necessary, but demolishing the recreation office building because it's been unused for so long and dilapidated is just really sad. Sad that our budget woes are in such a state that we can't afford to provide recreational programs in our city anymore. And just that the overall long-term slow dismantling of our Parks and Recreation Department is evident in this very ordinance today. So I just want to take an opportunity to mention that I'm hopeful that in the new year, we can look to new revenue options that will revive our Parks Department and bring back the recreational programs and maybe even our beloved Forest Park pool to support quality of life services here in Everett. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Zarlingo.
Well, just a quick note to thank all those who've been involved in the public-private partnerships that keep some parks programs going. There are several of those that I've been directly or peripherally involved in, and they're near and dear to my heart. And I do want to thank staff and all the people outside the city who have been working to get that kind of benefit to our residents.
Okay. Councilmember Vogely.
Well, I just have to remind everybody that the Noddits played at Silver Lake such a long time ago, and staff was blowing bubbles, and it's such a wonderful thing. And so that's what I was reminded of, is our Parks Department is being very slowly dismantled because of lack of funds. So, that's all.
Okay, thank you. So we are on action item 16. Any questions or comments? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Item number 17, authorize the mayor, the police chief, and their designees to sign all necessary documents and agreements with the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services regarding the acceptance and utilization of COPS FY 2025 Safer Outcomes Grant in the amount of $500,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Okay, questions or comments? Councilmember Vogely.
Since this is just an action item and it's not for second or third reading, could we have a little bit of telling us about what it is, please, for the public?
Yeah, I'll call up Captain Brett Yeaton, who has taken the lead on both writing this grant and help managing it. Well, I won't take any of his thunder. I'll let him talk about it. How long can I talk for? About 20 minutes?
About 20 minutes. Yeah, no problem. This is a grant through the COPS office, DOJ, to support our de-escalation training for our officers. It encompasses two primary components: the replacement of our aging and deprecated virtual training systems, a virtual reality training system we've had for over a decade, It's beyond its end of life. The company is no longer supporting it. So we have a need to transition to a new product that can support our de-escalation training. This grant would enable us to purchase an augmented reality system that would enable officers to not only be trained in de-escalation by themselves, but also in groups. It enables up to 4 officers go through at a time. So as our normal operations, when we're interacting with people, it's not just one officer, there's normally multiple officers. So this enables more realistic training. It also enables us to partner with UW's BH course, Behavioral Health Core. It's a research group at UW to help develop profiles and scenarios for us for de-escalation. One of the limitations of our current system is that they're just pre-programmed virtual training. So you don't have any option to actually have a dialogue with anybody. It's pre-programmed canned responses. So I might ask a question and there's no actual response that can be given that makes sense to what I said. So this would allow us to partner with the UW's BH Core to develop profiles in which our the facilitator of the training can speak through avatars to our officers and give them real world responses to what they might look like. So UW's BH Core will help develop those profiles based on people with lived experiences for those co-occurring mental health issues. And so we'll just provide a more realistic training platform for us. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
And also now I know that you're a captain
Yeah.
because I met you when you were a sergeant.
That's true.
Okay, thanks. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Right, no further questions or comments. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes, and we'll now recess into executive session for 10 minutes plus travel time. Okay, council's back, finished executive session. We have, action item number 18. Authorize the mayor to sign a collective bargaining agreement between the city and the Alaga ATU local number 883. Do I have a motion?
Councilmember Bader, so moves.
Seconded.
Motion and second's been made. Any other comments or questions from council? Okay, seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes, and with no further business, we are now adjourned.